AskGunQuestions.com is a website that we built back in 2007, and since then, for the last 15 years, people have been able to ask questions of simple to advanced nature, and we attempt to answer them in different ways over the years. Join us now as we start a new series to answer gun questions.
And welcome, everybody. I had kind of a weird thing happen here as I was starting, I guess my Twitter, whatever it's called, X account has canceled or something. I quit paying them for the premium, and I guess if you don't have premium, you can't stream. So we're no longer streaming to X, which isn't too big a deal because nobody ever responded on X. We did get quite a few viewers, but nobody ever responded over there. So we're just on the Facebook and the YouTube tonight, or this afternoon, I guess. Good, Tony, jumping in from New Jersey. Thanks for jumping in.
Yep, glad to be here, man.
All right, so yeah, we just got to chat last weekend again. We didn't do a show, I guess, but we got to chat, and I guess all kinds of stuff has been going on. But the big news, the reason we didn't have a show last week is we were both in Iowa. So what'd you think? How was the show? You did a lot more of it than I did. I just showed up for the 2 media days. Were you there till Sunday?
Oh, yeah, I was there till Monday. I flew up.
How was Iowa,
yeah.
George?
Iowa was, let's go with Des Moines. Des Moines was really clean, really peaceful city. I'm glad I was there in the summertime, not in the wintertime, because I'm sure it's really, really uncomfortable. But the food is really bland. Just, wow. They don't have a culinary culture that I'm aware of. But I did go to Casey's, the gas station that's known for their food, and the food was really good. I ordered pizzas at Casey's, and it was some of the best gas station pizza I ever had. Listen to every word of that sentence. The best gas station pizza. As someone that comes from New Jersey, people were ready to kick me out of the state and burn my house down when I made that statement because they thought it was some of the best pizza I ever had. No, that's not true whatsoever. Fun place. Everyone was friendly. The convention I thought went off well. Sadly, we're going to be in Tampa next year. I think one of the problems with it is it was the first year, so it wasn't packed. It was very small. I mean, as in the attendance, but it was big. It had over 200 vendors, and you had plenty of time to walk around and talk to people without bumping into a bunch of folks or getting caught in what do you call those things, like a traffic jam on the floor. Or a line, or like anybody famous you want to meet, you can meet them.
I did a drone thing through the building on the media day, and to kind of show the scale and everything, and you could kind of see, I think, that the building was big enough, and they laid it out well enough that while the booths were the normal size of SHOT Show or something, I'd say the aisles were half again as big as SHOT Show. So no matter how busy it could have been or would have been, or anticipated it could have been, like, they'd still have room for people to walk and gawk at all the booths and stuff. So it was a good size facility, I'd say, for the show.
Oh yeah, they nailed it. They
nailed it. So you were there for the public days, and was it as bleak? I mean, was it bleak, or was it just not crowded? Because I think there's a difference between, like, listening to people say, like, their experience or whatever, what they thought of it. I'm curious what you thought. Like, was it low attendance, or was it just not crowded?
It was not crowded because they had things on certain days that people had already committed to. They had a gun show that was there that, whoa, what the heck? I don't know why that started. They had things on certain. I wasn't even touching it. Anyway.
I mean, there was a regular gun show in town?
There was a regular gun show in town.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I heard
that for sure.
They might have ran to everybody else there. And then, freaking frack, what was the other thing they had?
Oh, like another event happening?
Yeah, they had the farmers market there too. And I'm assuming it's a big thing.
Yeah, in Iowa, because they're all farmers, so it's probably mandatory or something.
Probably, who knows? Like, there's a lot of people missing because of those two events. I think they would have been better served at having it in Des Moines again next year. That way people would know what they missed and be lining up to buy tickets for next year's event.
Right? But like, that's what I thought. Like, why do something shotgun or whatever it would be called. I don't even know if it's shotgun, but I guess it's kind of shotgun. But like boom, 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 and no one can ever plan on it. Like the only thing you can plan on is I don't know what's going to happen next year. Anyway.
Yeah, 2 years in the same place to me would make sense. Hey, you missed us last year. We're gonna be here next year, and then we're moving on. Like, okay, cool. That way you can get better deals, and almost these people can bid on it. Hey, man, I don't know. Las Vegas said they'll do this for us. What can you do, Kansas City? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Now, do you think they did this because Brownells was from the range like 7 minutes away or like 10 minutes down the road, or was it?
Uh,
Oh, we just happened to be in Iowa because we wanted to pick some place that wasn't like last year was horrible. I mean, it was muggy and shitty and like wet. This was not as bad. It was still 90, but it wasn't anywhere near as like physically draining to just walk around. And it was on a mountain last time, so I think the terrain you had to walk up and down, like you just got more tired than the range day this year. But anyway, do you think it was
yeah,
because of
both.
Brownells at all, or do you think it was just a coincidence that Brownells happens to be located like right there?
There's no coincidence. A lot of these people know each other. You know, guys from the NSF, guys from NRA, Gun Con. John knows all of these people. So when it comes time to put on an event, he can talk to them and find out what has the best ranges. And of course, Gun Con was here 3 years in a row.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Gun
I
Con
didn't
used
know that.
Brownell's range. Yeah, Gun Con used Brownell's range, and they had it in the Brownell's warehouse, which was right down the road. So
Oh,
John was
okay. I
able to
think I
get the
do remember
convention.
that a long time ago. Yeah.
Hmm. So that worked out. I thought it was great, but hey, whatever makes them feel better about what they're doing.
I mean, Des Moines is Des Moines. I don't know how to spell it either, but
Des Moines.
Des
Hmm.
Moines has.
Des Moines.
Is there anything there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's not. I guess there was some gambling nearby that somebody was talking about doing, and so that means like casinos and shit, but or at least a casino. But it's not like
Hmm.
nobody goes, hey, you know where I want to go on vacation is the middle of Iowa. So I guess that
Yeah.
could be a thing, but at the same time, they could have what's the word like countered that, I guess, or dealt with that by actually having events. You know what I mean? Like the thing about Vegas that's annoying is that it's really difficult to corral everybody because there's so many options. But when you send them to some place where there's fewer options, you think you might
So
capitalize on that a bit.
we had the Thursday of it, we had the range, and then after the range, we had the event at the sports place where we got to like do axe throwing and all
Oh yeah,
kinds
I
of other
forgot about
things.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a thing to get them together. But then it becomes a thing of how much does GOA be in charge of your entertainment? You know what I mean? It's like because now you got to pay for that stuff.
Oh no, I hear you. And I wasn't really tasking GOA with that as much as like the participants like have an opportunity to have like their own, well, it's called a Glock party or, you know, one of the parties that happens at SHOT Show each year, you know, like there's an opportunity
Hmm.
for somebody to create that in a situation like this one,
I
or they
think
weren't thinking about it or, well, it didn't
I
happen.
think
So I don't.
that's something that could happen when you have a second year at an event. You know what I mean? You had it in Des
Yeah,
Moines.
for sure.
Nothing
Because
is in Des Moines.
you can figure out where the restaurants are or where to
Hmm.
drive, you know, which way to go out of town type of thing. Like it worked out pretty well, I think, where the convention center was. And then I suppose most of us probably stayed near the convention center because we're
Hmm.
traveling and staying there. So then having the range be on, like, let's say that side of town, we didn't have to go across downtown to get to the range that day. You know, that's handy. Like that was,
Hmm.
and that's the kind of thing you learn after being there. You wouldn't know necessarily. I mean, you could figure it out, I guess, if you were thinking, but you know, a lot of people aren't going to think that far ahead, so they're just going to, you know, roll with the punches the first year. So yeah, you learn that kind of stuff, and then yeah, that second year you have a chance to know, okay, you know, we figured out like, oh, there's construction down here, so we're definitely not going to be near the airport, or you know, whatever, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe yeah, we can rent something like in Vegas, they can rent stuff near the airport cheap at SHOT Show. So there's all kinds of stuff near the airport at SHOT Show often.
Yeah, and Shot Show is fun, but yeah, every night or
Like
two
4 things
parties a
you can
night.
do every night. Yeah, and some people are trying
Hmm.
to jump from party to party, and if you're off sync, then you're never seeing some people, and well, the other thing is 4 days of SHOT Show and 3, 4, and 5 nights of partying, depending on who you are and how old you are and all that. Um, Yeah, it can take a lot out of you. You know what I mean? It can be detrimental to the show. So in this case,
Yeah.
though, I think goals is they're providing something. Aside from the location and the attendance, anything else like this is your second one? You missed one?
No, this is my third one. I did 2 years in Knox. I think this is all three of them, right? They've only had three.
They've only had this is the third one, right?
Hmm.
So I've been to 2,
Yeah.
so you've
So
been to all 3. I thought you missed last year. I'm mixing you
no,
up, so
no, I've been on stage on all three of them. I feel honored to actually have that. Um,
anything
to me,
changing there? Is it growing or developing on that, from that side of it?
I liked the first time that we went, or in Knoxville, we had a green room for the guests, and they got us in there 20 minutes ahead of time. That way, you got to at least meet the other people. And this one, they didn't do it, or maybe I just missed people because I had to be there at 12, I think, because I went on stage at like 12:11, 12:12, and I got there early, and I still didn't meet anyone because I came after a panel. So all the panel members were on stage when I got there, and I hung out for like 20 minutes. And then they came in and told me what I had to do. And I got to run into Brandon Herrera for 5 minutes backstage. I later hung out with him we were in the same hotel, so I got to hang out with him for like an hour and change. Him and Yehuda Rima. And that was really great because it's just hanging with my friend Yehuda and Brandon, who's friends with Yehuda, who's friends with Brandon. So it was pretty cool to hear stuff from Brandon's perspective about running as someone who's pro gun and just said enough's enough.
Is Yehuda
I
in
think
his district or whatever it's called?
no, he's not in his district. No, he's not in his district, but they talked about stuff because Texas. Um, I don't know if other people know, but yeah, Yehuda read his children's book at Goals in the kids section because they had a whole area where the young ones could hang out. They had games and rides and slides and all of that. So Yehuda was there, and they had him read his children's book. Well, when they posted the announcement on social media, they got bombarded with the stupidest, most evil, childlike probably bots and foreign entities, but also stupid people making threats against Yehuda about goals and all kinds of other things. Over 350 threats came in back to back to back to back to back. And goals talked to Yehuda and said they're taking it seriously and asked him if he wanted security. And he said, whatever makes you guys feel well. I don't think any
This
of
is
these people
because
will
he's
ever show up.
reading a children's book?
Yeah, because he's Jewish and he was reading in the children's section.
Huh.
Oh, they said some really stupid things. And so goals provided security for him. And again, they didn't need to, not with the people they had there. But whatever. It was a little upsetting. That I don't know. It's not upsetting that they acquiesced because it's smart. Because if anything would have happened to him, it would have been, the public would have been, why didn't you do something? But usually the cowards online will never do anything. They're cowards. They'll make a lot of noise and then, go back to sleeping with their sister. So they're no real worry. Your drone thing is really awesome. The one you put out, I guess, yesterday with the music and you just flying through the event and your
Yeah.
outside shots. So I'm watching it on YouTube when it came up. I hit a like. And as soon as your video went off, it kicked a commercial that was using almost the same type flight with the drone and the same type music. I was like, wow. Like, good Lord, bro. It's
I
like
just
that was
went
a
to my
style.
I went to the robots and said, "Give me drone like, music that's not copyrightable." So the robots just created music based off of other robots' music probably, but yeah, just like jazz or I don't know what to call it, just like music that's not copyrightable basically, just so that there's something
Well,
on it.
the robots must have get together and done a match because your thing went off and the commercial started right up and it just looked like a DJ mixed it. The highway thing you're running right now, that's how the other one started.
Well, yeah, I probably looked at the elements of mine and said, "Oh, you like that, so he's gonna enjoy this one too."
Yeah. and it just went right in. Bing.
So I took 3 drones with me. So this was after taking all the footage off of the different drones. I went to just my little drone, a little tiny one that holds you can fit in your
Mhm.
hand. You can kind of see it here as I land it. I don't even have to get out of the car to launch it. And half the time I just launch it and then grab it out of the air. But anyway, so I just took just that one drone footage. So this is when I was
Excuse me.
actually at Goals then, and I just tried to make a video out of it. But anyway, this is what do they call that? The safety briefing, I guess.
Yeah,
So
safety
I was
brief.
up
Yeah.
at the vehicles, and we totally screwed up because, yeah, I should have had you come up and hang out in the cop car. I didn't even think, but
Yeah.
missed that opportunity. But you guys were what, like 2 people behind me in line. So I got
Hmm.
there. I left. What the hell? Dez's monies, and then uh I forgot one of my drones, and I was, like, debating, like, "Oh, crap, I'm, like, 10 minutes out of town, and I'm going an hour. Do I turn around and waste 20?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and waste 20 to go get my other drone," and I'm glad I did because I ended up burning batteries on all of them. There was so much time and room to fly, I just used up all my batteries, so I'm glad I went and got it. Plus, my other drone, the one that I forgot, has actual zoom. My other 2 drones are easy to fly, and they're fast to get up in the air, but they don't zoom as well as they don't have the same kinda camera, and for doing some of the stuff, Zoom was handy. Anyway, so this was just the little drone doing the safety briefing, and I was up playing in the parking lot with the drones, and then was like, "All right, I guess." I heard noises. So I'm like, "I guess it's going now," and then um, I got down there in time for the safety briefing. So I guess they must have just been test firing or something, or else they stopped everything and
Hmm.
had I don't know how it all happened, but I got there in time for that. And you get an idea of how many people are there. I would say most of the media is there, and then you can kinda tell the people in red are the range people, and then the GOA people, I think, might have had blue shirts or something. I don't know if they all had the same shirts or not. Oops. And then, that was and then I do have a lot more footage of the range, but like I say, this was really just a project to get all the footage from that little tiny drone, and this was about some of the only footage I had. But I put this in here, and the reason I'm talking about it is was cool. During that safety briefing, they told us people with drones, like, "You can fly your drones around." There was no FAA issues, and the range didn't have any care they didn't care, and the event didn't care, which is cool because in Vegas, you do have airports nearby, so even if you want to, doesn't mean you can because there's airports, and some of them are military airports, you don't get a choice. And then, the range almost always has a problem with it. For some reason, SHOT Show doesn't like drones, probably because 'cause they're scared, and stupid. But, when you can fly at a range or something, they almost never let you go in front of the firing line. So they let us do all of that stuff, so which was really cool. So I got some cool footage, and with this one is the reason why I bring more than one drone. This one was easy to get up there. I'm actually standing on the hill back there, flying
Hmm.
this out in front of everybody, but I can see and, nobody's aiming at my drone, so I'm not too worried about it like that. The only real problem would be if I wasn't paying attention and I dropped the drone right in front of somebody who was shooting. Wouldn't be their fault, it would have been my fault. But, I don't care. I was willing to take that risk to get cool shots of the firing line. So with that other drone that I'm talking about going back and getting, it does zoom in, and I took it to the bigger firing line and zoomed in. It's not the best footage in the world, but I'm stoked because it's just a different angle than I'm ever able to get.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Right.
a lot with this camera or with this drone, I guess. But then this is the building. Where did you stay? Like they bought
Uh.
our hotel here, so, they didn't. So just as it's turning, if I can get it to go back just a little bit, like down this street. So like this turned out to be the expo center actually. This was
Hmm.
I don't know what this was, but there's no signage. I thought that was pretty weak. So I'm not going to give them 100% thumbs up because they didn't do everything right. Almost no signage on the building. And I did this because I had come up the street is what I'm trying to say. You can't really see it because I cut before the street happens here, but down
Hmm.
the side of that glass part of the building is where my hotel was, and so I just had to walk, I mean, across the parking lot essentially, and then that was it, and I was at the event center, but I was at a corner, kinda opposite where the door was, which was lame, of course, because they couldn't make it easier for everybody, but anyway, so, was your hotel literally in it, or were you like that,
Yeah.
like a block away or whatever?
No, my hotel was actually hooked to it by the skyline,
Okay.
skywalk.
So then that part was good. Like we were pretty much and that wasn't super expensive. It was like $150 a day, which is, it's a big city
Not
and
bad.
there's like porch right there. Yeah, it's not that bad. So it's not the and you could stay cheaper for sure. Like I know people that stayed cheaper than that. But for being that close to the event, I thought that was pretty cheap. And I don't know if you're going to get that in too many cities. And I'm guessing that had to be a portion of their factor, you know, that you could get to this one fairly affordably. I don't know what plane tickets were like, but well, anyway, so then yeah, like you see, I drove it around inside here, and that was neat. So I don't know if anybody else did. I was told that they had a problem with flying drones inside at this center, but I just did it anyway. So that's about all there was. The only thing else is Brownells. Did you stop by Brownells when you're coming back from the range? I mean, I guess you've been there before with GunCon.
What is
Oh,
this?
here you go.
All right.
No, he's muted again.
Hello,
There you
hello,
go.
hello, hello, hello.
You're back. You're
All right,
back.
cool. This thing has a delay. All right, it has a delay. I never.
Is anybody? Am I disconnected? Is Tony disconnected? What's happening? You're muted now. Am I here? I'm not getting any feedback. We just got that German guy from Facebook. Oops, it's the last thing I see. Let me flip this on. It's the last thing I see. Oh, I think I'm still here, according to the internet. So I don't know if Tony got
You
messed up. Am I back?
fuck. Hello,
Yep.
hello.
Oh, okay.
It's
They're saying
weird,
that.
and it's doing. This is doing weird things. It kept going to mute. It kicked me completely off the Bluetooth, and then it brought me
Oh,
back on. I didn't do anything.
they're saying maybe jump off and jump back on because if it's not me, then it's probably just your connection or something.
Yeah,
Or is
I
it
don't
not?
know. Can anyone hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh,
Yeah,
we
now
good.
it seems like
All
it's
right,
normal.
cool.
Yeah.
Let's roll.
Okay.
I have no idea what happened. What were you asking? Because
I don't
before
even
the whole
remember.
world ended.
We were talking about the hotels, and um, I thought I did ask
So,
another question.
so right now we're putting together Freedom Fest in Tampa for February, and the hotels are around the same price they were in Des Moines. So, which is pretty cool in one way. In another way, it's like, well, how much do hotels cost when you do a convention? You know what I mean? Are you there?
Seriously. Yeah, no, I think that matters.
Okay.
I mean, you're talking like when the person is making the decision of like what town to put it in, like thinking about
hmm
how much it's going to cost the attendees. Yeah, I think that's important.
Well, they're booking, because I'm going to be a speaker, and they're trying to get it together and get people to book their own hotels. And me, I'm in this thing like, hey, fellas, I kind of am to the point now. If you want me to show up, bring me out, because I'm spending money that could go on ammo and food for my people at my events that you're having me come out for. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're not like franchising some kind of like system or something that like you're desperate for clients or new franchisees or something like they're the one they're getting more benefit out of it than you are, like, you know what I mean? Like you're not doing this because you're like desperate to be popular in the gun community. You've established
Nope.
anything, everything you've been trying to do. Anyway,
I
I
mean,
get
if
to, I get
anything, I'm just trying to get, yeah. My thing is, if anything, I'm trying to get regular people to do what I'm doing. I can't look when I figure out how to, what do you call this? Franchise this, fine. And I'm still not going to gatekeep. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, cool. You can do it too. Just don't name it what I name mine. Outside of that, have at it, buddies. I don't think that's too much to ask for.
let's see. So then we got some questions from Woods out there. We got Jeff out there
Okay.
from Gear Report. That's new. And we got Snob out there. He doesn't come around very often, so good to see those guys. I did get to drop by Jeff or see Jeff when he was, Philmont Scout Ranch in New Mexico by any chance? I don't know if we've ever talked about that.
No.
So,
What's that?
Boy Scouts, now they're just called Scouts because the Girl
Yeah.
Scouts ruined it. But
Yep.
back when it was just Boy Scouts, I think they started in like the 1908 or sometime like that. And somewhere in like 1908 times, one of the Phillips 66 brothers had bought 300,000 acres of New Mexico. Like you can see it from space. It's a chunk of New Mexico. And somewhere
Mm-hmm.
along the line, he donated like 100,000 acres eventually, like not all at once, but eventually he donated 100,000 acres, including his giant mansion, to the Boy Scouts. And when he did that, it was an expensive thing because you can't just own 100,000 acres. It takes effort. So he gave them a skyscraper in Tulsa or Oklahoma City or someplace that they
Wow.
owned that they could rent out to make money to pay for it, so that it wasn't like a financial burden to them, so they could
Burden,
actually
yeah.
use it. And it's kind of neat. And so I knew about it from my uncle, like my mom's brother went there when he was a kid. So I know it's been around for a long time, but my scout troops, we never did that stuff. We did, scout troops can do like a big trip each year. Sometimes not every troop does, but some troops like get ready and plan like a giant trip every year. And it's called high adventure, they usually call it, and it's almost always expensive. It's like a week or two, and you spend a long time prepping for it. And that's part of scouting, is to like learn how to prepare and learn how to plan and organize and do stuff, and then follow through, and then do stuff like do stuff while you're on that trip. And like, anyway, so it's kind of a neat process. But anyway, one of the things that scouts will do, different troops around the country will do, is go to Philmont, and because it's this giant place, so I've known about it, never been there, knew vaguely it was in New Mexico, in northern New Mexico, but then at some point it's right next to the NRA giant 33,000 acre range that they bought years
Mm-hmm.
ago. So I knew it was there, but I never went over there because it was an hour down the road. I might have been there once in the town, but didn't go to the scout camp. Anyway, Jeff from Gear Report was there. He's been going there for a long time. And he was just finishing like a week of hiking and stuff there. So it worked out that on my way to Goals, I was able to stop by there, and we got to meet up. He got to show me around. It was pretty cool because he's friends with people there. So he introduced me to the guy that runs their museum, and he turned out to be a drone guy, and we were all gun guys. So we went and saw like a gun collection at this mansion that they got with like a $50,000 gun in it from the olden days that this guy just left for the scouts, and now it's a $50,000 super rare gun. And that's just the one I knew what it was. Like there's a whole rack of guns that this guy gave him. Anyway, so it's kind of neat. So it's cool to see Jeff out there, and then Snob was up there. Do you know Snob? Did you meet him, or did you get to see him up there?
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if you can
Yeah.
speak to that.
Yeah. We saw each other.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. We had so much fun when we were together talking smack and doing all the things. Over at EAA with Chase, excuse me, freaking brain fart. Hanging out with Chase and those guys. I'm trying to get some of their guns because I think EAA provides a good price point. But Wood asked a question. He asked about what was the coolest thing we saw?
Yeah.
Bro, rifle speed
Oh,
in the red
nice.
Dawn truck.
Yeah. Okay.
Come
I
on.
don't have it on this video because I didn't, it had nothing to do with that drone, and I didn't know it was there. Otherwise, I would have fucking drove the drone over there. But let me go grab the image or the picture somewhere
Hmm.
here. But anyway,
So
yeah, that I didn't even know about it. Like, did you know about it ahead of time? I only knew about it when I was
I
walking past, and I'm like, that truck looks familiar. And then I'm like, why do I know that truck? And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, I do know this truck. And then it turns out,
so I met the owner the day before the show. And it
okay.
was him, his daughter, and a friend of mine introduced us, and because my friend works for him. So,
Oh, I see. Yeah,
so
that's
we
the thing.
started
You had
talking.
mentioned something, so I thought maybe you knew him ahead of time or something. Okay.
Yeah, I know. I met the owner there, but he told me about it, and I was totally excited. So that was on my thing to do. And yes, it's the 1977 Silverado, including the side view mirrors in the movie didn't belong on that truck stop. So he went and found the side mirrors that were on that and removed the side mirrors that were stock. He had everything, including the boom box that caught the round that Patrick Swayze said, "Hey, this radio saved someone's life." Yep, they had that. His son shot it with an AK, blew a hole out the back, looks just like the one in the movie.
Yep.
They have the shotgun that the kid was using when the helicopter gunship came by and opened fire. Ha!
But they don't have it cut down, which is, I don't know. I would cut it down and mark the markings on the stock, but they wanted the shotgun as, because it's Robert's dad that they get all this stuff from. He owns that gas station. So I said, like, oh man, because one of my favorite things is the scene where he's got the knife and he's carving the body count on the stock. And then pilot guy comes by and goes, all that heat's going to burn you up or whatever, kid. And that's an awesome scene. And that's the way I would make the shotgun, right? I would cut it and chop it and cut, make the marks in the stock. But he said, no, I'm doing this as they're rolling out of town, which is yes. But then, like you say, the bullet hole in the radio, yes, that happens as they're driving out of town, I guess. They don't discover it till later, but it happens as they're driving out of town. So yeah, anyway, I'm interrupting. But yeah, that was amazing. And he said 3
and
years.
that took him years. Yep.
Yeah. Everything he said was good to go except for the wheels. He wasn't able to source vintage wheels, so he's got similar wheels on it, but they're way more modern because they don't, he couldn't.
Yeah.
He hasn't been able. I guess there's too many other people with actual vintage trucks that have snagged up all the real ones.
Oh well.
And then he said something about the doors, like the inside trim of the doors had a different like trim package. And in the movie, he said like there's two different trucks, and you can tell them because you can see the inside of the doors. One of them's correct and one of them's painted or something. I have it all on video, but I never even paid attention to the truck, dude. I mean, I've like a lot of Red Dawn, and I had a long. I haven't put my video together yet, but I have like 2 or 3 videos as I was going around the truck, as he was taking me around the truck, and I didn't put it on video because I didn't want to be a jerk. But I've stopped the scene where they grabbed stuff from the store like a billion times because that's one of my favorite scenes also. And I've done it before. I don't have the picture handy, but I do have a picture of the screenshot. When they're grabbing ammo off the shelves, they don't actually grab ammo. They grab primered cases. So basically a component for reloading. They look like boxes of ammo, but they're just empty shells with primers in them. And I thought that was hilarious that they're grabbing those. And Milius isn't stupid, and he had a really interesting eye for detail. So the fact that he zoomed in on that, I think isn't an error, because if you think about a bunch of kids who are in a situation where they're stressed out, they're not going to know or care what they're picking up. They're going to see boxes of ammo, think boxes of ammo, and grab, and be screwed up on the mountain when they find out, oh, they got his primered cases. You know what I mean? So I don't think it was an error. I think it could have been a very subtle, like, this is the ironic twist of fate that happened to these kids as they were grabbing stuff in a panic, kind of like the radio, or and the fact that they grabbed a bunch of sodas and shit, like, instead of grabbing food. They're just dumb. They're kids. So I think that might have been a part of it. But anyway, I told him after, and he finished the sentence. Like, he's like, yeah, they were primary cases. I know. But so in other words, in the back of the truck, he has a box of 308 when it should be 308 primed cases. But I didn't want to mess up in, his description of everything in my video to tell him that. But yeah, he totally knew that and beyond. Like I say, I never even thought about the truck before. But then he never been to any of the he's been to Las Vegas, but only to the main stuff in town. He's never been to all the filming locations. So I'm glad I was able to tell him where like all the real location, all the extra locations are there outside of town, if he ever gets back there. But yeah, I've met people that are into Red Dawn. I always bring up Michael Schwartz from Gun Owners Radio, because he's interviewed his daughter, interviewed my dude's daughter. I can't think of his name. I just said it. Anyway, Milos? No. What was his name? The director?
The director? Yeah, I don't know.
Anyway, so he hasn't met the director, but he's interviewed his daughter a bunch of times, and then whenever we went out to a gun show there 2-3 years ago, 4 years ago now, it was a while ago, and um saw Red Dawn on the screen. Like, I haven't seen Red Dawn on the screen since the 80s, so it was cool being able to see Red Dawn on the big screen. But anyway, so Michael Schwartz is the only person I know that's like that crazy about Red Dawn to get like that into it. Most people like it,
Hmm.
but not that many people have like gotten that into it. So this guy, it was cool to meet a guy who's that into it. His poor daughter. uh, We've said it
Oh,
before.
believe
We
me.
were already talking about like she's got to be so sick of Red Dawn.
Oh my God, she's such a cute kid. It had me laughing because she didn't roll her eyes when we were talking
Yeah,
about it
she's
at the
young enough
hotel.
to still be respectful and like, yeah, I understand, but she's like wanting to be on her phone or whatever kids into these days. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was cool, but it was
And
funny.
then what do they sell? Let's not forget they are there as a vendor. They didn't
Rifle
just show up.
speed.
So what are
So
they?
rifle
Rifles?
speed, they sell adjustable gas block thing to for your rifle, and it comes out of the end of the barrel. So right below your muzzle brake, they have the dial that you can dial it from 0, which is closed, to all the way open, and it's numbered, so you know exactly where your rifle shoots the softest because you can just turn it to that number, click, 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 and it shoots great on 3. You know what I mean? Even if you're using suppressor, if you're not using suppressor, whatever, it's a very good tool. I mean, it works really well.
Yeah.
Because most people have the adjustable gas blocks. It has a screw or something weird that you have to. Oh, damn! I lost my torch head. Well, no, you just turn this by hand, so it doesn't require a tool, and it just locks in.
Right on. So like, and then that table over there to the side of where you're standing is like the
Hmm.
product they had. 90% of their booth was the truck, and then like another 20% of their booth was Red Dawn merch. Like they had shirts. I bought a hat. So
I mean,
I was
to
at
me,
first I was looking at the truck and I'm like, this truck looks really familiar, right? And it just looks like a truck. And I'm like, why would somebody have a truck for camping here? And then I seen that hat and I was like, oh shit, because he's got a couple of the school hats and then that school jacket sitting
hmm
on the door. And I was like, oh shit. And I started to think about it. And then I thought like, dang, I never think of the truck. I guess it's only because it's in the first couple of scenes of the movie and then you don't see it anymore.
hmm
But I'm not a car guy, I guess. But super cool. I would definitely I guess I'd have to say that was the coolest thing too. There's just too
oh
much
yeah,
effort there. I mean, I was gonna say stuff like the, One Horse Express, um, those are cool, like, you know what I mean? The things with FRTs or something, or they have Atrius
oh
or
yeah.
something in them already. So they come tuned or basically, built from the factory with the whatever the I don't know how you're supposed to refer to those kind of triggers, the NFA killers in them. So, yeah, I mean, if you're gonna buy one of them things, that's the dirty secret is that ARs run fine from the factory usually, right? Unless you buy it from a
Hmm.
dumb factory or something. But then once you've started dinking with it, now all of a sudden you gotta learn how to tune an AR. And some people have figured that out. And if you've never done it before, it's usually changing out the what's it called?
Gas block.
Well, yeah, the
Oh,
gas
buffer
box
tube.
itself. I was thinking of the weight in there. I can't think of the
Buffer
name of
tube.
it.
Yeah, the
But
buffer
inside
tube.
there, there's like a piece of weight, and then the
Yep.
springs and chunks. So, like, there's different things you can do to change things, and then, like you're saying, or adding an aftermarket gas thing, and especially if you're putting a can on there too, like that can start screwing things up. So, anyway, so it's cool to see that an AR, especially since these triggers exist, it's cool to see something coming from the factory. Plus, if we are going to kill the NFA already, uh, what's the word? Precedence, having a bunch of things out there and buying it from the factory first, I would say is pretty good. I'm trying to think of what else. Oh, not weirdest thing, coolest thing. Um, what about products though? Like straight up, was anything? And I think there were some things that were introduced this year that were showed up there for the first time to the public. I'd say at least one of the first times to the public because Shot Show doesn't count really for new stuff. But then there was some stuff that showed up new since Shot Show, but nothing that was all that big to me. Like new versions of double stack, modern 1911s and stuff that I just don't pay attention to. Some
Hmm.
lever gun stuff. That one, I try to remember. I think Rock Island makes like a double flippy folding shotgun thing where, like, for some reason they
Hmm.
made it break open, even though it's a pump shotgun, it breaks open, I guess, for storage, and then because it's cool and
Hmm.
because you can. and make people get upset about it, I guess. But then they also put a folding stock on one or a folding brace maybe, and then so you can like kind of hold it and it all flips open. I don't know if that's
Or
necessary or anything, but it's interesting. I'm glad people are making things that can fold up for maybe motorcyclists or I don't know, horseback riders, whoever needs a
so
fold up gun.
what I like, okay, before we jump into another product, because I got a couple.
Sure.
Fuerza 2A or Strong 2A is the Spanish version of GOA, and they actually launched this year.
Oh, okay. Is that
This,
I got some patches, but I didn't know the story.
yeah, so I met them. I met Elizabetta, and I think she goes by Allie. I met her at Knoxville last year, and she was in the hall across from the entrance to the media room. She had a desk there, right in that lobby. When we were downstairs, where everybody had the things, you could walk out to the smoking deck. They had a
Yeah, the
small,
smoking area. Okay.
yeah, they had a small desk there. So I saw her, and we spoke, and she told us what was happening. I told her I was really excited about it because that's cool. Second Amendment is for everyone. So I saw her, and I didn't remember her when I saw her at range day. I'm like, who is that lady? Mainly because there were only like 4 black people in all of Des Moines, and she's Puerto Rican, but she's dark skinned. I'm like, who is that lady, and why should I know her? You know what I mean? Because I meet a lot of people, and
Seriously.
it just wasn't clicking.
It was Iowa.
Um,
Like they're not going to be
oh
able to, you can't explain away
yeah,
Iowa. Like there's a lot of white people in Iowa.
yeah, and it's funny, and people are like, oh, why do you bring it up? Because I got on a plane in Newark and I got off a plane in Iowa. You're gonna notice. It doesn't make you a racist to notice all the people are one color here. So anyway, we met up because I spoke to her husband before, and we were talking, and he invited me to the breakfast. And then she came by, and I was like, now it all clicked, right? Because she said something to him, and I was like, oh, she has a Spanish accent. And then all the numbers lined up, and it was like, click, click, click. This is why I know her. So we started the conversation, and they were like, yeah, it's going to be the first breakfast we have. It's going to be Sunday morning. Come on down. So Sunday morning, 10 o'clock, I was there, man,
Oh man,
because it was
I would have
important.
almost stayed for something like that. Almost. If it
Oh, it
was
was
Saturday, I
great.
would have definitely gone to it if I would have known about it. But
Yeah,
anyway.
I didn't find out about it until Saturday. So, I posted something. I did a video with them, and then I posted it, hoping maybe somebody who was in there, who was there would see my stuff. I mean, that's the only thing I could do, right? I mean, almost as soon as we recorded, I ran around the corner, set at the table, boom, and posted it so people could come the next day. Which in my book is better than doing a live. Anyway, so I did the thing. We went there, and the opening prayer was done by Eric Pratt's dad. Eric Pratt is the president, right? He's the
Yeah,
president of
well,
GOA right now.
Larry Pratt is the guy that kind of started GOA from that first guy who created Gun Owners of California. Larry Pratt was kind of the first like whatever Eric is now was Larry's
Yeah.
gig for most of the time.
So,
And I was going to say one of the coolest things about GOA and back then and what's his face Second Amendment Foundation, Alan Gottlieb, is both
uh-huh.
of them can go on Telemundo and do a Spanish interview as
Yep.
if they were Spanish speakers. Like they're fucking cool. His kid
Hmm.
can't, like Eric can't, but he can. He's pretty cool. Anyway, so
Oh,
that's
Eric
cool. He
can.
did the thing and oh, he can?
Oh, Eric can.
Oh, I'll
Oh,
shut up
yes,
then. I
because
didn't know that. I haven't heard Eric do it. I've heard his dad do it like with just and I the first time I was like, wow, that's because it was like in the 70s or something. I was like, that is fucking cool. Anyway, I'll shut up.
that's because Larry Pratt is married to a Panamanian.
Oh, I didn't even realize. Okay.
Er- Eric is half Panamanian.
Cool.
So Eric's mom was a daughter of the last elected president before the Noriega takeover. That
Huh.
was her dad. He was president for 11 days. So they told the whole story at the event because now, and I'm glad to know it, I actually had breakfast. I had breakfast Monday morning with Eric and his wife and a bunch of members of his crew at our hotel. And I got to hang out with him, and I told him, see, obviously I run the Second Amendment for everybody, and we have a large, Spanish contingent, depending on what range we're at. You just depends on what demographic lives closer. I was like, but now when people go, oh, all these Second Amendment groups don't care about Hispanics, they're nothing but a bunch of old white men. I can go. I told Eric, I can go. Well, actually, because Eric is half Panamanian, so I thought it
And
was
I'd
pretty
like to be
cool.
able to say that we have a bigger, I don't know what to call that, like Hispanic, I guess, because that's a
Uh-huh.
shit ton of people and a shit ton of the
Yeah,
Americas. But I think
yeah.
we leave a shit ton on the table by not paying attention to, like, the same way that people in New Jersey and New York and California wish they lived in, or wish they had the same laws as a state, like, good states, I guess. Think about all these other countries that are in the same hemisphere as us. We share the Americas. We can just walk to each other's houses, and yet, we don't. We should be having like a, what do they call it, like a corridor for firearms migration or whatever, for people that want to leave their countries where you can't have guns and go to a country where you can have guns. I mean, that's literally a reason why you'd move here. We should be embracing that. But
Well,
anyway, that's a lot to ask.
but I thought it was really cool that they've made a bold move to just go, yeah, we're starting the Spanish speaking part of this, and these are the
Mm,
people who are running it.
I'm just gonna keep holding their feet to the fire. Yes, I agree. Like, I definitely dig that, but it's not their first time doing it, and it's way too
Hmm.
late. It would
Well,
be cool, and I understand, like, it's a big ask. People, especially with politics, right? Like, if you're a Republican or if you're right, you're supposed to hate immigration right now, even though it's
hmm
been different in the past, and everybody pays attention to that. Like in the '80s, the
hmm
Democrats hated immigration, but
yep.
anyway, now it's the Republicans are supposed to hate it because the Democrats are supposed to love it. And as gun owners, we should be saying we should be welcoming people from other cultures who can't have guns, because what the fuck? They're gonna
Well,
come here and own guns. They're gonna be gun owners. Who cares what else? They're just gonna be gun owners. But anyway.
yeah, but here's I'll say this one: you can't have it both ways. You can't. I mean, you can
No, no, you
actually.
can't.
Yeah.
And to suggest that, like, oh, we should have a Hispanic gun community is stupid. That's like saying we should have a white or a black gun community. It's like that's just too many types of people. That's whole fucking continents or culture, whole countries of
Well,
people that
the
are different
reason
from each
is
other.
it's different in each other, but they feel more comfortable with each other than stepping into something they consider white only.
Oh, no, yeah,
So
I
if
mean,
it
if
gets
it's
them in the
different,
door,
I'm just saying to suggest, like, "Oh, we can just paint it red and white and green, and now all the
yeah,
Hispanics are gonna be cool with it," like, that's stupid too. So,
no.
I understand why it
So
hasn't just happened, but it's just frustrating that
yeah,
we haven't been working on it harder.
but it's much like planting a tree. When's the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago. When's the next best
Always.
time? Today.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
today. So they got it started. And they got it started from not, hey, let's exploit these people, but hey, we're one of these people. And
Oh, exactly, and
let's
that's
make
what it
them.
should be. Like, hey, it's not like, "Hey, welcome to foreigners." It's more like, like, "Hey, what do you shoot?" Because they all appreciate guns. Like, guns are
Yeah.
part of all of our cultures.
And
We all had
in
to
the
fight
interview
the
I did,
Europeans.
that's exactly what they're saying in the interview that I did with them. It's like, this is everyone's right. This is a human right. And we're here to bring these people together and ease them into it. Because there's no, look, much like, in my opinion, there doesn't need to be an overall women's group after women get involved. Once they break through the ice, they don't need other women standing around holding their hands as they're shooting guns for the 20th year in a row. They don't
Right.
need to go to an all women's convention even for the fifth year in a row. They don't need to be there. But yeah, I get you understand your first visit to the range, your first year when you're trying everything and you got it. But after a while, you should grow out of that. And I feel the same way about black groups, LGBT group, all that stuff. I understand you wanted to be with a like people to come in the door because you wanted to be comfortable. But I'm not that guy, but I empathize and sympathize with you. I'm the dude that'll go through the door no matter what. I mean, hell, I walked off the base in Japan with an English and Japanese dictionary, figured, hey, I'm a black American. I can't really get lost within walking distance. You know what I mean? Somebody in Japan will tell me that way for people that look like you. Um, so I don't have that fear, but I understand people that may not want to be that first person on the range because they've never been the one before or have trepidation about it. Got you. But after a while, you need to grow up.
I think the shoehorn, I don't know if this is the same thing as you're saying, but I'm thinking that the shoehorn is to guide the shoe and the sock, you know what I mean? So the organizations, like when you're saying like the all ladies organization, part of
Mm-hmm.
it is called or to give the ladies a what's that called? Like a
On ramp.
pipeline. Yeah. an on-ramp. But the other part of it is to the on-ramp, or the other half of that, I guess, the other side of it, of the coin, is to show dudes who might not understand, like, this is a thing, shut up and deal with it, or the dudes that were like, you're fine with it, but just didn't realize something they were doing was, somehow interfering with something. You know what I mean? So it's also clearing a path at this. Maybe that's what I said, or like showing. I don't know if I'm explaining this right, but at
Yeah.
the same time, it's giving the ladies an on ramp. It's also making a hole for that, and then once it's there, once the hole is there, and once the ladies are there, like, I agree with you. I don't think then you need to say like ladies only night and guys only. You don't do that. You're like, now you're just all shooters, and everybody can shut up about it and just start shooting again.
100%. At first I didn't, and it took me a couple of years and people actually having conversations with me, because before I'm like, just walk in the door, bro. No one's gonna throw you out. Just walk in the door. But again, everybody's not like that. All right,
No,
now
and
let's talk
here's the
about
thing, like,
action.
I'm thinking of, well, one, I'm thinking of Johnny Rollins Shooting Show. I think that's what it was. Is that what I mentioned, Johnny? Anyway, I think it was Johnny Rollins Shooting Show. I got really into that when I first found it. There's a YouTube channel that found all his satellite, like VCR tapes in a storage shed, and posted them all on YouTube just so they wouldn't disappear. And I couldn't get enough of them. I don't remember if you remember when I was into that, but still like him. He's also the guy who's the 450 Roland or whatever. Like, that's the same guy. So he's Hispanic. He's in Arizona, and he's a character. Like, a character. There's no way to describe. He's kind of like Dragon Man. Like, he's a unique person. And he had a organization, and it didn't take off. And I was like, well, is it because of him and his personality? Is it because of the timing? Is it because of, again, like, you can't say like, hey, Hispanic door right here for all the Hispanics. So, one, they don't like each other. Not all Hispanics are, what I mean? That's like a shitty term. There's Hispanics that don't like that term. You know what I mean? Like, it's a way to try to group tons of people together that don't want to be grouped together unnecessarily. And you know what I mean? It's the same thing as if you said Asian. Like, come on, what the fuck? It's a giant chunk of the planet Earth, like, to suggest, or Indian or something, you know what I mean? It's just, or white, like, it's just tough to suggest these things are uniform people that are all going to appreciate the same treatment or whatever. So I understand the frustration or whatever, it's not futility, but the inability to whatever, accomplish this. But I think
Well,
part of
it's
it is that when you start to say this or that, like, sometime you just go, hey, we're shooters, and it's just open to everybody. And I guess if in a perfect world, we could just say, hey, we're all shooters, it's open to everybody. But obviously you need to have somebody open the door every once in a while so that those other folks can come in, or new folks can come in, or younger folks, whatever the hell other folks are, right? And then so that we can, again, understand that we are everybody. It's not just these people or just those people or something.
Yeah, so my whole thing with that, I had a change, and I understood, as someone who hosts a diversity shoot and tell everybody they're welcome. Part of the optic that make a lot of people feel welcome is the fact that I'm a black guy saying it. And when I franchise this or figure out how to get other people to run it, they can't more than likely be a middle-aged white guy going, the Second Amendment is for everyone, and because of the optic. And definitely you can say it, you can 100% believe it. But when we set you out in front of the camera, or when we, do the social media thing, yeah, of course you think Second Amendment's for everybody. You're welcome everywhere. Kind of stupid comments. Yes, I've had them before, and I've heard it before. So yeah, sometimes there need to be an optic. So yeah, the Second Amendment is for everyone. The next person that runs this in New Jersey, or at least be the face of it after I step back from being the face of it, can be a Hispanic woman, who fill in blank.
Yeah,
You know
just
what I
something.
mean?
Yeah.
But something, but the inside, the spirit, the thought process will have to be the same. And I think it's unfair, but that's just the way the world is. People are optical; they see things and they just want to roll with that. It's a little annoying because Phil Smith started the National African American Gun Association, and when they talk about him and stuff, and they look at me like, "Oh, are you with them?" No, I'm not with them. but I understand why you made that connection. But no, I am not with them. I started my own thing. Um, so people assume you with that group if you fit in that group's demographic, and it's like, no, I came in here on my own to do my own thing. Look, just be welcome, and everything is not going to be perfect because people have different perceptions and comfort levels about how they see things or how they arrived where they are. Some people need to have people that look like them to walk in the door to feel comfortable. A lot of people, which makes me laugh, a lot of white guys, and I'm not putting it on it. It's just you may have a different perspective because you've never been the only white dude in a room full of people who weren't like you.
No shit.
Um,
Yeah, a lot of people don't like go out of their way to be put into a situation where they're not the only, they're the different person, or they just never encounter that. You know what I mean? They don't even
and,
realize that
and
there's an option.
doesn't make you a bad person because I think some people try
No,
to do
no,
that
no,
too.
no,
And
not
it's
at all.
like, no, you just not been in that circumstance. So, a friend of mine, Clayton, who is a co-host of Cocked, Locked, and Unfiltered, he went and hung out with Kevin Dixie, and they were on the other side of St. Louis, and they went to a cigar lounge. Well, everybody in the cigar lounge was black except Clayton. And he's chilling, and he looked around and was like, "Holy crap! I've never been in this situation before." Like it just opened his eyes to what it must be like to have the shoe on the other foot when like Kevin goes up to dust stuff work with him in Minnesota. Um, it's like, yeah, everybody in the room is white.
I
Okay.
mean, if you can tell, no, some a lot of people just haven't traveled, haven't been in the military or some sort of a
Hmm.
job where they're, going to go somewhere and be in a different culture or something, and then
Yeah.
you kind of figure out like, oh, kind of depends on where you're standing on planet Earth, you know.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
I mean, again, I've been in that situation all the time, so it's not new to me. Hey, talk about products, dude. So one of the companies that were there reached out to every media member and sent them a thing going, "Hey, we're this new company called Kiro, Kiro, and we have this chassis for a Glock pistol called the Morph, and it's somewhat like the Roni, the Micro Roni, and I forgot the other one. But they were like, we have one for you. You come over to the range day and you can shoot the thing with a Glock pistol in it, and then we'll have one for you at our booth and we'll give you one." So I I filled out my thing the day before I flew out because Clayton called me and was like, "Hey, you hear this company?" I was like, "Man, look, I just have mail kicked to this email address. I don't read everything." He was like, "Look it up." So I did. I filled it out. "Hey, my name is Tony Simon. I'm with, Second is for Everyone podcast or whatever." So I got there and they were like, "Yeah, your name. Last one on the list, man." I was the last one that got in before they printed the list out. So I shot the thing. It's really good. Now, oh, Tony, you're saying it because they gave it to you. No, because I don't care. You can't buy my, not with a free thing, please. And it's not even free. I had to get out there. But
and it's just
it's
it's not it's a chassis. It's not even the gun. It's just the chassis.
it's just
Although it costs
chassis.
money, but yeah, it's just a piece.
Yeah, it's almost a $500 chassis system, but it is built more solid than any of the others because there's Roni, and I forgot what the bigger one is. You stick it in and close the door on it. Um,
And then there's the
it's
Flux, or is the Flux a gun?
okay. The Flux is actually a firearm. They had the Flux kit, and both that's significantly more money. And buying the Flux itself is like 1700.
Okay,
So
totally different
this is
ballpark. Yeah.
totally different. So you can pick up all the Glock gens from 3 up. Or, yeah, I don't think they had V. They didn't specifically say Glock V because it was only what 6 months that was out. But 1 through 5, you can put those Glocks into this system. The pick rail is actually built in metal, unlike the Roni and all that other stuff where either the pick rail is plastic or it's just not there at all, and you use the optic on the pistol. So this is fixed. It's really well built, solid. And I asked for a tan one because I do video content, especially when I'm at We Shoot and it's a little darker in the studio and I don't have to work as hard to light it. And also when I take pictures of, your mom, your grandmom, your kids or whatever, shooting it in my events, it's just not another black gun thing. So it'll pop out easier in my pictures too. Well, I go to pick it up at their desk or their booth, and they were like, "Oh, we only have black." I'm like, "Well, then take it back, because I was like, take it back because I really can't use it if I can't take pictures of it, and just send me the tan one. You know what I mean? When you guys get back. And the owner was like, no, give it to him now, and we'll still send you a tan one. So I'm like, great. Then I'm going to leave this one in the box, and I'll leave this in the box. And then what I'll do is raffle this off. So this is just going to be a raffle prize to help raise money for what we do. So I think I'll do it online and do it as part of maybe the relaunch of our Patreon. So after I get it
Oh, that's
and
cool.
put some rounds through it. So it comes with their foregrip, comes with a stock, comes with a 1 point sling that they have with quick release. Also comes with sights already installed, pop-up sights. Um, it looks like either the Magpul 2s or polymer sights, or even the what's the name of the company out of Israel? Fab Defense flip-up polymer sights, and a foregrip. It's really well put together. It has a muzzle device on it that's actually metal. So I think this is going to be a really great prize, and I can't wait to get the real thing and drop my Glock into it, and then introduce other people to it. Because what this does, in my opinion, is turn your Glock pistol into a PDW, and it's in a really nice zip-up case with everything separated. In my opinion, this becomes something. Just leaving it out the case, and I can leave it in the car. Not leave my firearm in the car, leave this thing in the car, and then poop hits the fan. I can pop this open, drop my pistol in it, close it back up, and now I have a PDW with 4 points of contact if I have to shoot it. You know what I mean? Just like a small rifle. And if I have a couple magazines that I keep in a backpack, now all of a sudden I have something with 30 rounds, shoulder fired, 4-inch barrel. And you can put a slim suppressor on it if you want to, and it'll go out the front of this thing. So if it's durable and holds up, because this is what I think I'm going to take a couple classes with once I get my pistol in it. I'm going to run it in classes as a pistol caliber carbine. I'm going to put work in because I like the concept of having to have a defensive firearm on you that can actually reach out to allow the normal person to hit moving targets and targets at extended ranges for a handgun, which is 25 yards to 50 yards. If you got to unasked an area, get out of your car, hustle. Everyone acts as if somehow what happened in 2020, 2021 couldn't happen again.
Everybody has kind of put that out of their mind when I'm having conversations, not with guns or anything, just regular conversations with people, maybe about the flock cameras that are happening. Saw a lot of them as I was traveling, so I brought that up a couple of times with people, and they're like, what are you worried about? Like, I don't know, didn't you live through 6 years ago? Like, well, I guess if you lived through 6 years ago and you're like, yeah, they need to have some kind of camera to monitor who's going where, then you're not going to be able to change that person's mind.
Yeah, not at all. But my whole problem with the flock camera is when everything's abused. Oh, but everything gets abused. So look at it from that point of view when you first look at something. How are they going to use it to screw you over or to stalk you? Oh, well, it was just an individual stalking just the good looking women he pulled over to find out exactly where they live or some weird crap
It was
like
just
that.
a pervert.
Yeah, it was just a pervert. Yeah, but it was a pervert with access to that. Then you find out it wasn't just that pervert. It was, look, bro, just stop. I mean, hell, even in the movie Blue Thunder, the helicopter had you remember that? The Apache helicopter they had, that was a police helicopter, had the ability.
When a pervert is being perverted or whatever, they're not, I mean, that there's going to be, there's a chance, obviously, they get caught because they get caught. But then when a criminal who's savvy, who might have a access or a badge or access to whatever the person with a badge has, starts to monitor the comings and goings of people and starts to rob people when there's no one, when they know there's no one in the neighborhood, that's when they don't get caught, and no one can point to it and say, that's the negative part of it, because there's nothing to point to. You can only point to the absurd extreme situations, and it's so easy for someone who's not what's the word, like, who doesn't have who isn't suspicious, I don't know if that's the right word, maybe not even that much of a word, but if someone has no inclination to be suspicious, then you know what I mean, like, they're not gonna I mean, it's like I get if they don't watch mysteries and whodunits on TV, if they only watch comedies or something, you know what I mean? They just have no
Hmm.
world picture of like even in fiction of like how someone could do something bad. Then, well, that's another topic, I guess.
Well, that's the problem, right? Because usually that Venn diagram of gun ownership, someone that takes defensive firearms classes, and advocacy, and people with a knowledge of history, like there's some overlap there, more overlap than with the general public.
And then
So
if it
when we,
isn't, they start getting into guns and they start to discover that stuff. So even if it
yep.
wasn't there as an originally, they becomes an overlap. If that's what I say it, like they become aware of that stuff.
So that's one of the things that being in this environment can breed. But what most people don't realize, if you stay in this environment or live in it, it makes you the weird guy. It makes you the conspiracy theorist. I'm good with
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. Like I was just gonna say, what I kind of value when we see the YouTube community or whatever we call ourselves, like the gun community, get bigger, which it did after 20, but it's gotten bigger. You know, just I pay attention
Hmm.
to the gun community. It's gotten bigger in kind of uh, waves or whatever. But the way that different people who come into it, you know, like just basically a person who was an adult and then decided to buy a gun. I always use that example is way different than me. I was a little kid and knew I already got
Hmm.
my first guns when I was a little baby kid. So I've always owned guns, always had access to my parents' guns, my dad's guns, whatever you want to say, and then went shooting constantly. So I've just always been around guns. So of course, when I got older and started using the internet, I'm doing guns on the internet. But that's different, and there's no difference. It's not like I'm better or something. I'm just saying I'm different than someone who, you know, just wasn't around guns for whatever reason their whole life, and then as an adult decided for whatever reason I'm going to get into guns, and then went into a gun shop and discovered all this shit. Like we live in different worlds, right? Just our world of knowledge of shit and our stuff. That, like you know, there's so many guns I don't even pay attention to because I've grown up with them, and I just, you know, for whatever reasons I've got my opinions. But someone who's new and different, when they bring up a topic that's important, like I don't know, like just individual, um, what's the word, like individualism, even, you know, their fresh take on it or their take on it from a totally different perspective, a different life, and everything. Like, man, that's I value that a lot. And we know that we can't win by just saying our rights are property and somehow the other side's going to go, oh, you're right, we should leave you alone even though we hate your
Hmm.
rights and your property, we are going to leave you alone because we should. Since that's never going to happen, the way that we are going to change it is having new resources, right? New strategies, new tactics, and that often comes from, well, once in a while it'll come from somebody old figuring out something new, but more often it comes from someone with a new, fresh take, you know, with different life experiences and stuff, bringing their experience to the table and saying, "Oh, you know what people these days don't understand? Let's clear that up." And I really value that. You know, we don't see it all the time on YouTube, but YouTube is one of the places that, you know, YouTube fosters that kind of stuff. Anyway, getting back to that Roni, what's it called? The
It's called a
a
Kiro,
hero.
Kiro, Kiro More.
Thanks to you, I also have one, and because I saw the email, but like you, got a billion emails. I definitely, well, there was a time there, first couple of these events, that John would show up in Ghosts live shows, and I actually had a chance to give him feedback. I just never went to the show, never went to the event, so I couldn't give him much feedback. But they need to take a look at a person's inbox who is an attendee, a person's inbox who's in the media, a person's inbox, somebody like you who you know, showed up to work there or whatever, you know, be part of it. You didn't really work there, I guess, but you know, be part of it, like as a speaker, and look at our inboxes and see the amount of just general GOA email we get, period, and then the amount more we got because of this, and the
Hmm.
almost no way to differentiate between any of them. It's not even email addresses, I don't think. So they could definitely improve the communication just by taking a look at the landslide of it that they send out, um, and trying to send it out with some strategy and then put some stuff in places. I guess I'm in a bitch right now. They didn't, I mean, we knew that there was some stuff scheduled, some things that would happen. At least I knew based on last year's going to the thing. And I was hoping it wasn't the mandatory lecture like last year, and it sounded like it was going to be this breakfast, but the breakfast turned out to be a lecture on how to join their system or whatever, but at
Yeah.
least there was breakfast. But I didn't know where it was and when it was and all that kind of shit. And I was like looking through all my emails because I somehow knew that there was a breakfast. I just don't remember where in all those emails, which are all just randomly thrown out there with all the other GOA emails that I get tons of constantly. And I couldn't, so I was asking everywhere, and Gizzard helped me out by throwing some stuff up on Discord, and a couple of like Snob, I think, and a couple other people. You sent me like, what emails you could find, but I think that I also got a lot of replies like, I don't even know either. Like, where is this thing? So as soon as I figured it out, basically I just said, screw this. I'm just going to walk over there. Like I was bragging about, I'm in the parking lot of the damn thing. So I'm just going to walk, basically in the parking lot of the thing. I'm just going to walk across over there and see. So I went over there like an hour early and just crossed the street and started walking around and got the runaround because let's say there's a square and there's an entrance in each of the four corners of the square building. I walked in and went to the south corner and they're like, "Oh no, you need to go to the north other corner, like totally opposite end of this building to get in." And I was like, "Seriously?" Because the room I'm going to, I'm pretty sure is right in front of these doors right here. And then somebody else said, "Hey, let me in." And then we all just rushed in without asking. And I literally walked in right in front of the room where we were going to have breakfast. And I started taking pictures and posting them everywhere so that others would see, go to this corner and just say you went in and go to the room. It's right there. I don't know if that helped anybody or not. I did get a lot of views on that right away. But that's the kind of thing where it's like, I mean, SHOT Show isn't much better. I'm not saying like other shows are somehow way better because this is a big thing to accomplish. And they've only done it a few times. And I don't know how much feedback they're actually getting. Probably the worst feedback would just be like, "Oh, it was a great event. Thanks." Because then they don't feel like they need to change anything. But I'd say some of the communication was pretty weak. So anyway, that breakfast, when you were talking about that new Spanish speaking version of
Hmm.
GOA, like I didn't
Yeah.
even know it was a
Well,
thing. I
that's
saw the patches and I figured, it's in Spanish, so that must be another Spanish effort on GOA. And I'm not bitching that they've had more than one effort because they've had more than one effort. Other organizations don't even consider it. It's not even a concept, right?
yeah.
So I mean, NRA has and Second Amendment Foundation has, but nobody else has that I know of. They may have somebody on I shouldn't say that. Guns for Everyone, I guess. They're not, I guess technically they're a national level organization. They're just not anywhere near the same, funding wise. They're no, and membership wise, they're nowhere near the same level, but we have very few. But anyway, so I would say that part was frustrating, and then I heard because I left after the media days but I've heard that the scheduling of the speakers and stuff was either frustrating or unknown to the attendees because and it's probably a factor of the building, I guess. But it took me a while to figure out there was a fourth floor. What were you
Oh,
guys up there talking when I found you guys on the fourth floor? I think,
oh,
and because
bro.
I was like, because I was looking for Cheryl Todd. Honestly, I was like, I figure Cheryl's going to have a booth in the media row, and
Nope.
then like a couple other people who I just know from media, right? Like that are at other events. And I figured if there's a media row, they're probably going to show up and have a booth and then I'll just wave, it's all I ever do. But yeah, I went up there, found you guys chatting. I guess they were getting ready for interviews. I think you were just up there because then we all
Yeah.
went down,
So,
right? But anyway, so that's where the talks were. And unless they made better signage or like announcements or something, I would have never known to go up like 2 flights of elevators or escalators to get up there.
okay. Yeah, I'm glad you're saying something. I might want to write this down. You're 100% right. I didn't even know what Media Row was because I was supposed to meet the guys from Guns Out, and I didn't know where it was. So I was on the
It
floor.
was
I
that stuff
assumed
to
it.
the left of us when we were upstairs with Sean, right? Like, it was over
Yeah,
to the
yeah, it
left
was the
over
stuff
there?
to the
Yeah.
left. So I'm downstairs on the main floor, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm looking for the media room." I was at High Point's booth, and I just finished talking to the guys at Bursa. And I'm like, "Hey, I'm looking for it." And then Sean came up and he was like, "Hey, I'm looking for the media row. I'm supposed to do an interview with John." I'm like, "Me too." I assume it's over here because it was, it's got to be in one corner or the other of the show because that's
Yeah,
where it was in
exactly. It
Knoxville.
was always in a corner, like the end row or whatever. And then I
Yeah,
figured it
so
was
I'm
in
like,
that little room, so I walked everywhere twice.
yeah, so I'm going over there. I go and I stop at EAA and I'm talking to them and they have something to show me. So Sean keeps walking. Then I finish talking to them and I start walking off. Well, Chase, who was with EAA, he said, I didn't know he'd left because I was talking to guys and the other guys in this booth, Ghost and actually, yeah, I was talking to Ghost and those guys, and I started to walk off, and they were like, "Hey, Tony, Chase needs you to take this. Could you take this to Chase on Media Row?" And I'm like, "Okay, where the hairy heck is Media Row?" So I get on the phone with Chase, and he's like, "Hey, go outside, go down the hallway all the way to the end to the escalator back where the GOA store is." I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "What?" So I take off. I grab because it was a firearm. So of course we had to put it in the bag. I couldn't walk
Oh,
around with a gun in my hand. So we took the firearm and put it in my hand, bag, and I boom upstairs, over, up, all the way, boom. Give it to Chase. Breathing like a Brahma bull because I didn't know whether they were holding the interview up or not. And then I went and sat down, and I kept, I went I went and sat down, and all of a sudden Alex comes out, who's wrangling all of us, and she was like, "Hey, Sean Heron's looking for the media room. I have to go get him." So she goes downstairs and directs him up. He comes up and goes, "Tony, what are you doing here? 3 minutes ago, didn't you say we were going to look for this thing?" I was like, "I got directions before you did, bro. I didn't know." But he was looking at me like I betrayed him. I'm like, "No, bro, it would just happen this way." Um, but it was pretty cool. But yeah, what they were depending on was those stupid transitional signs. And you probably didn't notice the screens. They had signs up there that it would
oh,
give
like TV
different
screens.
information. Yeah, it was TV screens, and it would
But
give different
it's like
information.
infrastructure, so I'm gonna ignore all that and just look for a pop-up or, some kind of a flag or
Well, when
something.
when you're looking for something, those stupid signs stay on stuff as long as it takes your eyes across it. So if it didn't change while your eye was running across it, you just thought it was a poster.
Yeah, I
Well,
got you.
it's not. Yeah, you have all this darn information coming at me, but I'd have to stand here and stare at it for like 30 seconds to have it rotate through all the info. That's not a good thing, in my opinion. I needed something to tell me, media room, follow these signs that don't move and don't change to something else. You know what I mean?
Put,
Like
like, yellow tape on the ground, and this is the route to Meteor Lake Row, and then this is the route to
something,
the
bro.
cigar smoking area or something.
It was just like, yeah. And then the cigar smoking area, didn't know about that. Found out about it when I had to go up and meet the guys from Ammo Squared. So I only came out of the Spanish breakfast to walk outside and have a cigar with Clover for like 15 minutes. Then I had to cut it in half, get out, and go, go. You know what I mean? Like hustle upstairs to meet the guys from Ammo Squared.
Did Clover go to that, breakfast on Sunday then?
No, Clover was downstairs. I mean, I must have caught him as he was just resetting or, chilling out or who knows.
Well, he's addicted to the nicotine. He goes out there and smokes all the time.
Yeah. So it was cool to hang out with him,
It was
get a
nice to
few
meet
minutes. Well, it's great, man, to hang out with some of us because we see each other, but we're all busy at SHOT and NRA. We're doing something. We don't get to go, "Hey, here's 15 minutes of just us sitting around bullcrapping."
That's true. I don't bother usually anyway, just because, at least for people I know, because like this, we talk to each other constantly. So I'm like, why the hell would we want to waste each other's time in real life? Unless there's literally nothing else to it, like we did, I guess, more than once. But I think we chatted more this chat or this trip than usually. We're just like, hey, all right. And maybe I throw the dog at you and you get a picture with the dog or something. But
You're one of the most focused dudes I know, though. It's like you're never not doing something.
well, I don't know about all that. I'm
Well, all right, you
trying
seem to be busy.
I try to make it use the wild or whatever. Um, got a new person asking on YouTube, how many cigars do you smoke in a year? Mine's easy, like one, maybe zero, probably. If you count when I bum a cigarette off of a friend of mine, which I'll do like maybe once every 3 months. The last time I did it though, it like I'm not even kidding, it knocked me down. Just a regular old cigarette, like a Camel or whatever he smokes.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, let me bum a cigarette off you. And I'm sitting there, we're just bullshitting. And I got like the flop sweats and I had to sit down. Like, bleh, it was horrible. Like I'm not going to be bumming cigarettes anymore. So it definitely
Oh
goes away. I felt like a little kid smoking a Swedish cigarette or something. It was horrible. So anyway,
man,
I
I do
have no
not
interest
smoke.
in the cigars.
Yeah, I have no cigarette smoking. I quit. Good golly, Miss Molly. I don't know how many years ago I put it down in the middle of a pack and never picked another one back up.
Right on.
And ugh, I hated the addiction part of it. I'm smoking this even though I don't want to be smoking this,
Hmm.
and that annoyed me. I smoke like I have a cigar at the end of my event with all the guys, so that's two a month. Um, I might have one on my own. I can say it's a stretch to say I have one a week because it is. I don't have that many in a year.
Imagine like
I
you
have
go to this event, you go to Shot, you might have a cigar, right?
So I'll have a
Mingle
cigar
with
to its
people.
shot with somebody, and at the end of my diversity shoots, we have a cigar in the parking lot. So that's, let's just say, 22 times a year in the parking lot of diversity shoots, we have a cigar. If it, not rained out or so cold, we're not doing it. And then pretty much it's shot at NRA. If I get lucky, I might have one. So I don't think I smoke 30 to 50 a year.
No, I haven't done this. Can you, or at least I don't remember, can you light a cigar and just like leave it in the ashtray and have it burn so that you get the atmosphere of a cigar going, but you don't have to actually smoke it? Or will it just go out like a cigarette?
It'll go out.
Okay. I
It'll
know
eventually go
cigarettes
out.
have paper that make them go out so that people don't light their bed on fire or something, but I didn't know if cigars were like that.
Yeah, cigar will go out. But it's a cool thing that you don't have to puff it all the time. Just an occasional boom, like the cherry, put it down. If you're not into smoking cigars, just don't, because I like the smell of the tobacco growing up.
Yeah.
Thought it was a cool thing. And is what it is, man. Some
I can
people
be
are not into
around
it.
people with cigars. Like cigarettes got
Mhm.
no interest. Like that's usually shitty. Like that's torture. But
Yeah.
cigars, no big deal. Pipes, no big deal. Smoking a cigar, I don't think I'd want to. But if a bunch of people were smoking them and I got it for free, I would probably light it and not do it justice and whatever. But is it bad to is it like poor taste or just like taste nasty to chop the end off a cigar and smoke the rest of it later? Or is that a thing?
All right, you have to do some prepping before you do that. You blow through your cigar,
Yep. Blow the smoke out of it. Yeah.
blow the smoke out of it, cut it, blow it out of it again, because you're trying to get that out of it. So you just have tobacco. It doesn't taste the same, but yeah, you can save a cigar.
See, because I don't have any palate for it, so I think that's probably what I would do is get some kind of cigar in a metal tube, smoke a couple of puffs off of it, 1/5 the speed of everybody else around, and then just chop the end off. That's what we used to do when I was a kid because, we only get one cigar every once in a while, so we would smoke a little bit of it when we were camping or whatever and chop the end off. Didn't know anything about this blowing the smoke out until I was
Hmm.
older. But, yeah, like I say, I have no palate, but I don't mind being around cigar smoke. And I can understand the whole idea of, like, having a drink or something and puffing on a cigar as you're bullshitting with a bunch of people, especially if it's outdoors.
Yeah, we just BS and hanging out with friends, and it just becomes a thing. Not necessarily, and I had never met a bunch of people who smoke cigars that like try to browbeat you into smoking a cigar. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, you want to come hang out with us? And heck, we even apologize sometimes. Sorry, we're blowing smoke in your face. And
Well, that's a
usually
good
people
point.
go, I'm out here with you smoking cigars to hang out with you. I'm not worried about smoking the face.
Where cigarette smokers, I don't even care. They'll just blow in your face. They don't even think about it because 'cause they're just
Yeah.
smoking it so much. But that's a good point. They usually cigar smokers will either offer you one, and if you say no, then they just go on about their business, having a conversation, and same as if you were drinking and you said, "No, I'm done. I don't need another drink." Nobody's gonna give you shit either.
Yeah,
I think it's
there's
kinda cool that the GOA because of the scale of it, I think there probably is something with cigars at SHOT Show. I just don't see it because I don't go outside or whatever, but the
yeah.
scale of this one, just because I went outside and hung out with those guys in the smoking area, I saw that cigar tent and stuff. Were those free? I don't know
No,
if we figured it out, but,
no, they were a little expensive too.
oh, okay. But the idea of having, like, a cigar whatever in part of it. I get it. It's ATF and everything. So and it's anyway, I think it's kind of cool. I get and they don't put it, you don't have to or anything. You don't even have to walk near it if you don't want to. So it's not mandatory by any means. I think that's kind of cool. I think NRA did something with booze and I was kind of the same way. Like they had a wine club or something when I first started going to NRA shows or whatever they're called, the annual meetings. And
Mhm.
it wasn't really controversial, but some people would bring it up, and I was like, well, it's the ATF and shit. So I kind of get it, and at the same time, kind of like golf or something, like like those circles, right? The people that shoot are probably drinking wine. At least some of them are drinking wine. So why not uh, get in with
Yeah,
some
I'm not a
vinegar or
drinker,
whatever?
so yeah,
Yeah,
that's not
same,
for me.
same. I would
Um,
like take a glass of wine or something if somebody gave it to me, but I'm not going to know what it is or enjoy it. I'm just going to drink it and probably only drink half of it if it's gross. So
mhm. Yeah, that wine will never see. I'll never see the bottom of that glass.
yeah.
I'm just being polite. Now let me put this friggin' sour crap down. Um, but I like the fact that they had it at Shot Show. They had it, and it was on the other side of Caesars. So if you're going all the way to the back wall and go out the door, you go outside, and they had it outside. They had a tent. They had music. They had everything. It was pretty nice.
Underneath the Ferris wheel thing.
Yeah, out that side.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. See, I never go out that side. Some people, that's their main entrance. Some people, that's their whole the only way they've ever been to Shot. That's their front door, and
Hmm.
it's kind of cool. But it's still kind of around the corner or whatever. They do like the events there or something. I've walked out there once, I think, but I've never been there for one of the night events.
Yeah, it was the first time I
Jesse
ever been
was.
out there. Didn't even know it was on that side. Didn't even know there was a side out there.
Well, I
Knew
think what's
nothing.
cool about that, depending, I guess I don't know, but potentially at least less crowd if you got like an Uber dropping you off. Like
Hmm.
it, it seems like even though it's back behind all that stupid Ferris wheel, I know that's complicated streets back there. Uber people are going to know the complicated streets because they live there,
Hmm.
and you're basically getting a bunch of Uber people. It's not like families, unloading their luggage to check into a
Yeah.
hotel. It's just a bunch of people jumping out for a convention, so it's probably pretty quick. Where the other side, where you have to go down in that like ditch or whatever, where all the buses and stuff, you never know if a bus is about to head out or if the cops have to do something. There's always like 1,000 cop cars down there, and then
Hmm.
the taxis are just hanging out. So anyway, it just seems more crowded down there to get Ubered. I know that whenever we'd get dropped off, we'd end up getting dropped off up at street level and have to walk down into the doors anyway. So that new side, the Caesar side or whatever. Anyway, now we're talking about Shot. So Woods is asking, what's the weirdest thing you seen at the show?
Okay. So for unique, one of the ladies,
Oh,
the
I got it.
safe civilian, the safe
Okay.
civilian. I was at her table. I did a video. If you watch my Instagram, and it was her having stab proof, cut proof clothing for ladies, and she
Oh,
also
okay.
has. And so, of course, she demonstrated on Sarah from Besties. Besties is this spray for women, designed for women, with impact weapon on the end and different types of cartridges of different strengths to spray in your face. Anyway, she put the neck brace, neck collar on, which is looked like a turtleneck, and proceeded to take my knife and try to slit the lady's throat in front of me, and I got it on video.
Yeah, I was like, that's pretty neat. So it's not like soft armor where it's so thick that it's protecting you from a knife. It's more like the material is so woven so strong or something, right? That like
Mhm.
the blade just isn't effective so that you really couldn't stab. You could probably like bruise the shit out of somebody through it, but you're not gonna slice the flesh or whatever. I
Mhm.
thought that was seems obvious. I can't believe that hasn't existed for a long, 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 long time. But
So she turned them into scarves and things like that that
yeah,
you could wear.
brilliant.
So I think it's really cool. She was a nice lady, and that was a little like strange, as in wow, never thought of that. And now she made it into a product. She also has, of course, a soft body armor for women that have the boobs built in, and so it's not just a flat thing against your chest. It's actually contoured, so it's not painful for a lady to wear. And it's well thought out gear for a woman, and it's not tactical. You know what I mean? And she actually is proud of not being tactical. She was like, "That's not me. I'm a girly girl." But I totally understand that you carry, you want to be protected, and this is a way to be protected. Plus, I mean, even though she was born in the U.S. and raised here, she moved to Sweden, and they have a different problem over there. They have people getting slashed, so she came up with something that makes them safer there too.
Oh, it's her. I didn't realize it was her. So
Yeah.
she flew all the way from Sweden for this?
Yeah. She's still here because I see her vacation pitch. So obviously she, went around
She
while
did
she was
more
back
than
in the
just
States.
goals, but
Yeah.
she scheduled it. That's cool.
Yeah, we
So,
were actually talking.
for the weirdest thing, Woods was asking about what was the weirdest thing? Dude, those that in that area, that like
Uh-huh.
lower roof area, that booth that had like a bunch of model kits, like old ass model kits, like vintage plastic model kits, like World War II vehicles and planes and boats and stuff. Did you see that booth?
No, I didn't.
It was like, being at an indoor swap meet or something, because it was
Wow.
literally like a booth with the parameters of the booth. They put in shelving, like wire shelving, and then, like, floor to like 10 feet tall, 8 foot tall, like as tall as the curtains that divided the booths areas. Like that whole section. I don't know if I must have a picture of it, I bet. But anyway, yeah, models, like model kits. And I forget what else, like some like 12 or 18 patches, like, it's just a weird selection of patches that were mostly military surplus. Anyway, so some sort of like maybe they set up at gun shows, but I suspect more like Comic Cons and like vintage toy shows and stuff. So that was the one that I was like, this is so out of place. Like, where did this come from? Like, I guess it's not an effort to fill the booths in that, whatever you call like the annex or that area that had the shorter ceilings.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I was just in there and I was like, hey, this is what do you call it? Diverse. This place has diverse interest in it. And I was trying to find things that were more I look for things for women this time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I was like, the guys are gonna have everything gun related. And I covered, during the year anyway. Let me go check out what's directed at women at this event. And I thought it was pretty cool that I went with what I did.
So that's a picture of it, but it looks like shit. So I'm gonna get rid of it and then try to just open it up for real so I can zoom in on it. But I can take a look at some other pictures here too. I'm trying to think of something else that might have been weird. Um, I didn't. I was paying more attention to guns this time because of the whole YouTube thing, or I mean the whole Facebook thing.
Hmm.
But I I did an article before I left to look at to kind of focus on the stuff that might be new at goals so that I would be sure to hit whatever's new. And there, like I said, there was a couple of things that are new, but they just didn't interest me or just not aware of them. Trying to find my pictures from the event. I just was looking at them. Had to take more than that. Oh, I don't think I
Yeah.
can.
Also, I saw ballistic. What the heck? I made the video ballistic. Ding dang. Move. It's the people with the ballistic dummy. That was it.
Oh yeah,
Ballistic dummy.
Ballistic Dummy Lab or something like that.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting because I'd seen it before, but I never knew a price on it, and I wasn't so interested. I looked it up. Oh, okay. Byron. Yeah, it's them. So I shot these things.
Oh, probably shouldn't
At,
show that on the screen.
oh well. I
They
shot,
had their
and that's
flag backwards, so I was like, "Hey, your flag's backwards," and then almost immediately they put it up the right way. Thought that was kind
they
of
were
cool.
sweet. I
Yeah,
really liked her, and her dad was there. He helping her out, and that's the
here's the
morph.
hero.
Yeah,
What is this? They also do 80%. Oh yeah,
I guess so. Yeah, man.
80%. There's a flag the
Well,
right way.
so I didn't get back over to see my guys at Kimber. Um, that's my favorite organization, the company right there. Only
The
because
Mountain
they got
Billy Gun Club.
yep, because it used to be We AR 15,
I want this one.
and
The pistol with the brace.
yep. So I have an interview with them because I try to get them on every show I see them at. And those are my boys from One Horse. I did not know Aegeus was there, man.
Yeah, they were in the back. I only know. Well, they're in the same parking lot as me, so they were hanging out in the parking lot.
Yeah, I miss him. I saw him at the first goals. He introduced himself
This
because
is
they'd send us stuff
Chiapa.
too. Yep.
People petting the puppy. Fostech. Can you have this in New Jersey?
Is it fun? Does
I
it
think
seem
it's a
fun?
shotgun. Wait, no, that's a 50. What am I saying? You can't have a 50, I don't think.
Nope.
I thought it was the shotgun. They make like a shotgun with a big ass drum. So they did have Virginia Citizens Defense League.
Yes, I went and saw
They've
them.
been at every one that I've been to so far. Last year I bought a bunch of their stuff. I didn't do that this year. And then they had American Snipers, which I'm glad because SHOT Show doesn't really give these people boots anymore. They make them pay. I'm assuming these were given to them. This is that 80% G80, I think. And this was just some old cowboy guns.
Well, let's go back to the old cowboy guns from my friends over there at Taylor. So
Okay.
Taylor's and Company is out of Winchester, Virginia. And what most people don't know is a lot of that stuff they designed and they put out. So that lever action coming up on the right hand side, that 9 millimeter is something they developed. They also were the first ones to develop this breakdown lever action. They were the ones who put that in action, and they were the first ones to bring it to market. The lever action over on the right side as you're looking at it, not there on the opposite side of the screen, it's barely on the table.
Yeah, barely. I don't have a good picture of that
Yeah,
one.
don't worry about it. You
Oops.
can look it up. I think it's called a TC9 1873 or something like that. So she developed it. Her and her mom own the company. Actually, it's her mom's company. And the
Oh,
mom was there. She was a blonde lady. Yes, this is a female owned company. I've been telling them over and over again that they need to really get that information out so people know about it.
yeah, I didn't know that.
So
Or if I
so
did, I
for
didn't
me,
recognize.
yeah, so they also have a 1873 revolver and a 18 the Remington version of it, all in 9 millimeter. Oh, Tony, why is that? That's not even hey dipweeds. One, new peach shooters coming in don't really care about the caliber. They're not locked
Not for
in.
their first aftermarket, right? Like modern old
Yeah,
gun. Yeah.
yeah, they don't care. And also, I can feed it at my event and introduce your mom, cousin, nephew, female shooters, young kids to this thing. Now, if they can hold up the 5 pound, lever action, they can shoot this shooting a 9 millimeter, have great time, and it's not costing you an arm and a leg. 38 special, even if you're running that, is significantly more than 9 mil. So this is a way, in my opinion, to get someone introduced to lever actions, especially in the state you can't have one, or if they don't think your freaking semi-auto rifles, semi-automatic firearms are cool. They're like, it's just another thing. But this is cool. This is something I'll shoot. All right, cool. Guess what? Your wife will shoot a freaking, lever action that looks cool, that's quick to draw. It could still do everything it's been designed to do since 1873. Awesome. Now she has a defensive firearm that she goes and shoots on the freaking weekends, but it can fill that secondary role of doing what it's done for over 150 years. Let her
Is this thing 9 millimeter?
encourage it. Yeah, it's probably 9 millimeter. If that particular one isn't, they have them in it, and they also tune them from the factory. So you can either get one that's never been tuned and it's just got a stock factory. It's still got a good trigger and everything. It's just not super smoothed out. Trigger time will do that and dry firing. But you can get it what they call tailor tuned, and they can slick it up for you. Also, I think that shotgun is cool. It's a 45 ACP, the silver and black. It's a 45 ACP or 410.
45 Colt or 10.
I'm sorry, 45 Colt and 410.
Yeah, I was looking at that too once I started digging into this picture. Well, I'm glad I took that picture, but I did not talk to him. So now I feel bad that I didn't even go over there. I don't think
Yes,
I think they're right by the law enforcement room at shot all the time. So I'll
yep,
have them
they're over
talk
there.
to
Stop by, see them. I really like talking to them because I'm from Virginia. They're from Virginia, and we just hang out and talk. I never, ever, ever pay any attention to anything in Daniel Defense ever.
I just took a picture of the truck because it kind of shows the scale of how big these things are. And somebody like Daniel Defense, they got some money, so they just drive this truck in, open it up like a trailer, sorta. I don't know if you can walk in that truck or not, but I know that their whole entire booth just pours out of it. So as far as places go, it seems smart to me. Like have the vehicle that drags your booth around be your booth. And then obviously they got some signage on the back when they're driving down the road. They're getting guns out there. So as much as I'm kind of in the middle on Daniel Defense. I don't love them for sure, but I don't hate them or anything. They are what they are.
Yeah, no, just bleh, whatever. Daniel Defense, bleh. Um, I don't know. I think it's not a problem with Daniel Defense itself. It's a problem with the people. And their idea of the Daniel Defense, and no, this is the be all end all, and then all of a sudden DD is not
A
popular
cult
anymore,
of
so you don't
DD.
even
Yeah,
hear. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
you
exactly.
don't even care anymore.
And
Oh,
it's not their fault, but when they lean into it and profit off of it and dig it and make a big fancy flashy shit about it, then yeah, they are leaning into it. So it's not their
yeah,
fault that it happened, but at the same time they also profited and leaned into it. So oh well.
exactly. If you go right back to the EAN, that pretty 92 clone that they had. So Fuerza 2A had a 45 ACP version, and it was the one with the not conquistador. Uh, I
Oh,
forgot
the
what it was,
Aztec
but
calendar or something?
maybe it had something on it. But they had theirs, and that was one of their giveaways. If you donated to them, you were in the drawing. So
Hmm.
I thought that was pretty cool. So that came later on, and I don't know who won it. I'm hoping for a phone call. I'm hoping for a phone call, but I doubt it will come. I doubt if I won it.
I never
But I thought
noticed
that
that
was
they
really cool.
say made in
Turkey? Yeah. Tur-
Turkiye.
yeah, Turkey. I mean, they started doing that. I don't know when, but it was recently comparatively.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool though. I kinda like that.
Yeah, because I'm like, wait a minute, when did that start? It used to say just Turkey.
So as much as I don't like Jeeps and stuff, I mean, I wouldn't mind winning this. Looks pretty
Yeah, I
fun.
got in on it. I donated so I could get in on it because I look at it this way: if I won that, I'm not paying the taxes on that thing. I'm donating it right. I'm donating it right back to GOA
Huh.
and getting a complete write off.
So, did you eat over here at all?
Yeah, so I didn't need it. Is that the one up against the wall? The
In the
wall's on
back?
the left hand side. Yep,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
ate that one.
Is it any good?
It was.
Expensive?
I thought it was $9 for a burger is not bad. $9 for a cheeseburger wasn't bad at one of these things.
Okay.
And then they were like, what do you call it? C word. Condiments. Condiments are over in the small section, second window, right? That you can see the second opening right there.
Okay.
Well, I was starving. I'd made the mistake of not eating anything the entire day. And this is at the end of the day, right as they were closing, they were wiping everything down. I was like, "Do you have any food available?" They were like, "Yeah." So I grabbed that and I stepped over to the condiments. No, they do not chintz out. They had all the condiments you want, da 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 da. But they had sliced tomatoes,
Nice.
and pickles in the brine all the way up to the top. And again, I was starving. Man, I threw like 6 tomatoes on my burger, mayo and stuff, and then I just filled the whole top half of the burger tray with pickles. I went over and set at High Point. You'd think I had a friggin' 5 course meal.
Nice.
But I was starving. They were nice. The burger wasn't dry. I was like, you know what? This is not bad, and the price wasn't ridiculous. Because I mean, I'm not blaming NRA because NRA doesn't set the vendor prices, but that would have been like $16 at NRA.
Yeah, and that's a factor of, Iowa. Was the burger any better because it's Iowa?
I think it was like a bubble burger from Walmart, so it was real meat and it was real thick and large. I mean, it was bigger than you'd expect.
That's what she said. What do you think about Troy? Where's Troy on your hierarchy?
Troy, I'd rather buy it from somebody else. Troy is in the same thing as Springfield Armory, mainly because they hired the guy that was in on the murder of
Ah, Ruby
Ruby
Ridge, right?
Ridge. Yep,
The sniper from
yep.
Ruby Ridge. Well, they
So
gave
you
me
know
this
what?
patch, so I'm okay with that. They gave me that patch.
Yeah. Hey, listen, do you? I just know this. There are enough people that sell AR-15s that don't have to deal with them.
Yeah, I don't really buy nothing from Troy. Same thing. You could have hired anybody else in the world, really.
Yep.
So what did you know anything about Black Hawk Armory?
Battlehawk. Mm-mm.
Battlehawk? Shit. Um, that's weird. That's weird because I'm sitting here looking at it and I'm still gonna say Battlehawk, or I mean Black Hawk, just because of the whatever. I've said it a
Helicopter.
billion times, you know.
Yeah. Helicopter. Yeah. I
Oh well,
doubt
I
if you're
grew up
talking about
with
the
the
Indian
black.
tribe.
No, I'm talking about the Indians, but
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, because I grew up around there. So at least I grew up in a place where they talked about it all the time. Anyhow, I learned about this place from Snob and them. I guess it's a shop in Iowa, but this is a very, very, very expensive gun I'm holding. I'm assuming because they were out at the range, and I forget what the prices were. I think I have it on video somewhere, but they had four 1911s on the that you could shoot. I'm sure you went there because it wasn't that much of a that large of a place. They were in one of the big white roof things,
Yep.
wherever those things like whatever those things were,
Mm-hmm.
shade things, and they were all the way to the right. So the one of them was this other thing, this truck. I didn't know you could shoot that, but that was all the way
Yeah.
to the right of one of them, and the other one, this one was all the way to the right, and I think it was with the FALs, but I'm not sure. Anyway, I went over there just because
Oh.
there was nobody there, and I'm trying to film shit, and they're like, "Hey, blah blah blah." And I didn't know nothing about them other than there was nobody standing there, and there was some 1911s, and I needed videos for Facebook, right? So I'm like, "Yeah, do you mind if I shoot all these?" And they're like, "Yeah, go ahead." So then they told me about it, luckily, because some of the booths were like, "Yeah, go ahead and shoot," and they just didn't tell you what the gun was, and I was like,
Nope.
"All right, I guess I'll fill in the blanks." But this place told me about the guns, and I don't know shit. I didn't retain anything because I don't know anything about them. But what I did remember is like there was a 9, 245s, and a 10 millimeters, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then the prices were something like the 9 was the most expensive, but and I think the 10 was the cheapest, but the prices started at like 9,000 and went up to
Yep.
like 19,000. So I just shot
Mm-hmm.
4 of the most expensive guns I've ever shot. And I'll tell you what, the 10 millimeter shot just like a 45, and the 9 shot that, good. So I get it. Like I totally get it. But it's the same as like if I fit in a Ferrari and I could drive it around, I'd probably think that was a pretty nice car, but it doesn't mean I want a Ferrari. Like I don't want to have to worry about a Ferrari the rest of the time. Like I might rent one in Vegas or something. But anyway, so
Mm-hmm.
this was a company that sells really nice guns, but those guns come from like Nighthawk and Staccato. You know what I mean? Like they're not making the guns. They might be messing with them and improving them,
Mm-hmm.
but this was like all copper on copper on copper or something, like gold on gold on
Mm-hmm.
gold. And it just was neat. Like it's not my style, but I get it. And I understand the like work it takes to get that all. Cause think about it. Like how often you get FDE to match. Like that's actually like a purpose built thing. Like somebody got this amazing gun built and then they made it look cool. Anyway, just thought that was a neat table. And they allowed me to basically waste a bunch of their time. Cause like I say, I'm not working for them. I'm not selling them very well, but they are a shop in Dez's money is.
Well, I talked to the guy, Des Monies. I talked to the guys from King's Gunworks, and they were there, and they had their $7, $8, $9,000 pistols too, on in the same area. So I got some pictures. I don't know if I got video. Like every time, like I got to lock in when I'm at the range and make the most of it. But just sometimes it's like I just want to be a regular human being. You know what I mean? And like geek out on this and talk to friends, but because I'm not a content creator first, I'm an advocate first, and I use content creation to reach more people. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going in to go, I gotta get eyeballs on this because this is the first person shooting this. No, you guys doing that and y'all killing it, and I'll recommend you because no one's my competition. So go look at so and so's channel. Go listen to that person's podcast. But I really do. I should get more video and stuff. When I checked out the afterburner stuff, that was pretty cool over there at the range, all the way to the other side. You know, the extreme when you had to walk down the hill, the gravelly hill,
Mhm.
the newer part. That was cool, and I got to try the. I can't even think of it, but yeah, the name of it's afterburner. Um, they do make a difference. This was the first time I had them all beside each other. The last time I shot those, it was at GunCon, and they were just about to close it down. Oh, Radiant Afterburner, that's the name of it. They were just about to close the range down, so I was just doing mag dumps, loading them, shooting them, loading them, shooting them to get rid of the ammo, and also get some trigger time. But since I didn't have nice, since I didn't have like a P365 with an afterburner or a regular P63 beside each other, I didn't feel the nuance between them. And then after I did, the funny part is you can see me shooting still with a regular one, ping, 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 ping. And then I picked up the one with the afterburner, it was ping, 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 ping.
Hmm.
I was like, all right, you can actually hear it. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
difference.
And that's the thing that it's hard to there's probably people that are good at describing shit like that, but like that's the part that's difficult to describe because you feel it and it's like an act like a response, like you're able to do something because of this, and that's where it gets tough to, like, oh, it shoots smoother. Well, it shoots smoother because of the machining they did, but what that really means is you don't have to wait for the gun to come back on target because
Mm-hmm.
it never left target, and that's hard to describe. Or it can be. So obviously we're looking at that truck again, and I just took
Yeah.
some random pictures, and then he started telling me about it, and I got some video. So these are the shirts that they were selling, and that's the tires that are
Yeah.
legit. I think that's his kid holding up the jacket, and it was all like, they got this jacket, then they embroidered the thing onto a patch and then sewed the patch on so they didn't ruin the jacket, and then he's going to go back and actually embroider it onto the jacket now. So yeah, the level of detail was nuts. So in the movie, Jed goes in or he tells his kid, what's the other guy's the kid brother's name? I forget
Mm-hmm.
what's his face's name's kid. But anyway, Jed says to his brother, get Grandpa's revolver out of the glove box, and he's got
Yep.
that revolver. And then I'm like, hey, do you care if I put the dog in there with the revolver? He's like, fuck yeah, go ahead. So I got
There
the
you
dog in
go.
there with the revolver.
Hey, quick thing I just saw in my mail for anybody that gives a hoot. If you're in the FN and you saw the FN high power they had that nobody cared about and no one bought because they wanted $1,400 for it, well, they got a clearance sale over there at PSA right now and it's $599, no longer $1,400. That
Did
makes more sense.
you look at this thing at all? Oops, not that dog. This thing.
Did they have
Stencil?
other ones? Yep.
Stencil?
Yeah. So I shot their stuff over at the range. This is
Yeah.
one of the ones they just had on the table, but they have them in different calibers too. And it is a very solid, and it just looks like an AK, but it is not really an AK.
No, it kind of looks like one, but yeah, it's neat. And it's got it's not just like, hey, we took an AK and changed it easier to make.
Mm-mm.
They did some work to it. So this would be maybe the fourth, like that I can think of, maybe the third or fourth like iteration of a new company coming to the table. And it's been a while since anybody's bothered with a 7.62 by 39. So that's obviously why I'm
Yeah.
taking pictures of it. I think that's awesome. But it's a milled and it's got this crazy cross bolt safety thingy that's weird. And I don't know if I like it or not.
Excuse me.
That was the
Yeah, the
only there's
crossbow
only like
safety
3
was really
dogs
weird.
whole show. This one, some other dog that was barking at people, and then my dog. I think there was the only 3 dogs there.
Yeah, I wanted to stop by Goat Guns because on the other side of Goat Guns was Ammo Squared.
Oh,
And by
okay.
the time I saw them, I had to be at Ammo Squared. And it's like, son of a biscuit.
They
All right,
were
well, I guess I ain't
basically
seen
by
this.
that thing for kids, like the little activity area or whatever.
Yeah, which is a
Okay.
good place for them.
I guess so, yeah. So this is a guy that was downstairs in that annex area and doing patches. So, of course, I'm gonna go look at the patches. He's alright. He's also the guy walking around with the multicam, whatever
Mm-hmm.
you call it, triangle hat and the, like
Tri-corner hat, yeah.
yeah, and then the jacket and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is that booth I was saying. It was like, "What the heck?"
Holy mackerel, bro. Yeah,
Right?
I didn't even pay attention.
I
I'm
mean, you would
glad I
walk
didn't.
by and you wouldn't even look, and I'm like, "Really? This is your patches?" And you had to pay for the patches. You had to buy the patches. That was a new
Yeah.
thing that I guess isn't too new, but it's new to me, that they're making the couple of the booths, they had patches out, but they wanted $5 for them. And I'm like, "1, you'd only
Yeah.
pay 2 or $3 unless you're stupid, and why are you charging extra for" you know what I mean? Like, if something like, ATN was a really cool company that they're still a cool company. They're a US made plastic, like the 6 pack, the little piece of plastic that holds the 6 cans together. They invented that back in the day. So they've made a lot of plastic stuff, and they would do a thing where if you wanted to buy something from them at like SHOT Show or something, they're like, here's a fish bowl, throw some money in there, take whatever you want, but then we're going to take all that money and donate it at the end of SHOT. And that's the way, you know what I mean? That's the way they should, in my opinion, they should do it. Like, you're doing this for marketing. Yeah, put a fishbowl out there, and now people that are cheap are going to just steal, but everybody else will throw something in there. Patch guys, he's saying that the patch guy remembered the dog. I chatted with him because I wouldn't normally chat with him because I've got my own patch people, you know what I mean? I've been doing this for a while, so I'm not looking for new patch people, but I'm also not like anti talking to somebody. So I'm like walking by over where me and Tony met that in this area, basically. In this, see how there's low ceilings in here? This is what I call the annex area, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Somewhere over here is where that patch guy was. And I'm just walking the aisles. Actually, about the fourth time I'm walking the aisles because the place wasn't that big, and I probably should have got more video, but I was bored. So I was just walking like for the fourth. Oh, do you have an Ammo Squared affiliate?
Not yet.
Okay.
We're working on it. That was a conversation we were having, so they can help us out. Up on screen right now, you got the guys from Bucks Holsters. Well, Peter from Bucks was the one that won the trading cards, the gun tuber trading cards at GunCon last year, and then just redonated them to me.
Oh, okay.
He was
Cool.
like, "Hey, I just wanted to help," so he redonated. So this is a company he works for. So they have all kinds of holsters. Look them up. I met the owner of the company. Nice dude. Support the work, and they'll probably be in on our EDC giveaway that I'm putting together. Just so they can help us out. And I want people to be able to have, lots of different options if you want to buy a holster, because you have I don't know, Smith & Wesson Sigma. Well, they'll probably have a holster for it. And I want to give a shout out.
Yeah, right on. That's what it's all about. So I was walking in this area or whatever, and I hear this guy talking about this restaurant in Tucson, right? And he's like, "Oh, this restaurant is so good." And the reason it's a sandwich restaurant. It's from New Jersey, actually. I'm pretty sure they're from New Jersey. So they made New Jersey style submarine sandwiches, or whatever you call. Is that what you call them up there too? Submarines? But it's Italian meat sandwiches, for lunch meat sandwiches. Some people call them heroes. Like, it's one of those things. I remember going off on a tangent here, when we all sat around in the Army for the first time, all meeting up, getting ready for training or whatever. It's one of the things where, like, what do you call a grinder? What the hell's a grinder? Like, what do you call a lift? Like, we literally were, and then Coke, like that blew my mind the first time, because I'd met people
Pepsi,
before,
Pop.
when everybody in Texas calls everything Coke or whatever, like, I was like, what the hell? Anyway, so this restaurant in town has, like, well, at the time they had 17 locations, and this guy was explaining to what's her name? Do you know the girl who works at Hooters, and she just recently had a kid? And she's called, like, Rachel B, I think. Yeah, Full Auto Rachel or something like that. Like, her dad is into full auto, so she's grew up with full auto, and she's like Instagram.
Yeah, I don't know anything. I don't know anything about her history.
Oh, well, her dad was standing there being told by the patch guy all about this restaurant. And I'm sitting there walking up, and I hear it, and anyway, long story short, he's going on forever about this restaurant. And then he gets done talking, and I'm like, yeah, dude, what years did you live in Tucson? And then anyway, long story short, I worked at that restaurant, and the thing that he was, saying was so awesome. He's like, frozen drinks. I was the guy that had to fix that frozen drink machine every time it broke. So I'm like, oh, dude, I know all about that frozen drink. And anyway, it's just kind of small world, right? Like, this guy, I just walk up randomly, and the guy with the patches is telling Rachel's dad all about these drinks that he can't, he's never found anywhere else in the world. And I guess must be a New Jersey thing, because these guys brought all the recipes and stuff from New Jersey. But anyway, like a frozen ice type of drink. And anyway, so I was like, yeah, hey, so I'm gonna talk to you, since I worked there. Like, at the time you were living here, I was the guy running that, like, the maintenance for those restaurants or whatever. So anyway, small world. We were just bullshitting for a little bit, and then I started talking to him about patches, and, well, he was telling me about patches. Like, anyway, so anyway, that's how I ended up seeing that patch guy. Then the Wilderness is a place here in Phoenix. So woman-owned business, been in business for like 30 years or something. They started out making belts, just like a nylon belt with the buckle for like a good, strong, gun belt, and then now
Uh-huh.
make all kinds of stuff. So, and I've known them for I don't even know how many years, so a long time. So, chatted with them. This was like their neighbor, and as I'm filming with Wilderness, this guy from over here comes over to say hey to the dog, and I was like, "Oh, we're filming." So afterwards, I went over and chatted with him, and they basically make for like for me it's perfect. Like these are like these are bags, but they have like a magnetic system to them. So if you're like in a vehicle or something, you can magnet them to the side, or maybe in like a I don't know, like some kind of a locker environment or toolboxes. You could have these things just magnetically attached. I thought that was pretty clever. And the dog jumped off of my bag onto the table, so he was okay with that. Chatted with the people from PSA a little bit. Big fan of Bond Arms. Um, let's see. Bond Arms had the lever gun. They have the new lever, so I got to shoot that. Have you shot this thing? It's
No, I
not that
wish I
new.
had.
It's
Yeah,
not that
no,
new,
it's been
but
out for a couple years. Yeah.
I don't know if it's been at ranges before, but this was the first time I shot it, and it's okay. I mean, I don't have I really like the idea of a lever with a mag, but
Hmm.
right there's the but. A lever
Yep.
has to move, and now there's a mag in the way. So you can tell by looking at it if you start thinking about it compared to a
Yep.
different normal standard lever gun. This is just a different throw. Like you have to get used to it, and you have to do it with gusto. But that being said, if you own the thing, and it's 223, so you're shooting an effective round out of an AR mag, right, with lever action, so everybody's happy as far as legality and shit. But I think it's also just a nice package. Like compared to an AR, it's just a neat package. I mean, if you're not looking for smallest possible, shortest thing, I just like it. Anyway, so it is what it is. But I know some people are not going to like it because you have to deliberately, really like with gusto, like cycle it.
Well,
But
one of the annoying parts is people want something to be something it's not, right? Oh, well, you got to, yes, if you have a magazine fed lever action, you're going to have to work that thing harder. It's similar to a regular cartridge fed, but it is not.
right,
So
it's a
it's like,
different machine, right?
yeah, it's great that you like your, 1960 something Corvette with a 5-speed shifter, but it's not going to be the same as Nissan Altima you got at the airport when you picked up a rental car. No matter how much you want it to be, that's not going to be that, buddy.
I held back. I really want to talk to my Bond about their. They own the patent to the Bannerman pen gun. They've made it before, but they
Okay.
haven't made it in forever. So I
Uh-huh.
really, really want to keep bugging them about it, but I didn't.
Shoot, keep bugging
I
them
probably
about
should.
it.
I probably should.
Yeah, they annoy the hell out of Dave over at High Point for freaking what you call it, parts
What?
kits.
Oh,
It's
really?
the 3D. Yeah, the 3D community wants so bad to have parts kits for High Points. It's like, why would you want something that you can buy for $100? Just buy it and make your own lower. Why? You know what I mean? Go to the pawn shop and pick one up.
So I don't know how to take this one. So unapologetically American, politically incorrect, and then
Uh-huh.
as the flag. So I know they're probably trying to piss people off by saying the whole unapologetically American thing and
Uh-huh.
politically incorrect. I just don't know who they're trying to piss off or if they know who they're trying to piss off. And then you've
Yeah.
got like, I will not comply. Like, where does this even come from? So anyway, there's that. And then like we'll dance for ammo. Like, so that's sort of, I would say like mid, like not political. I don't know what this is. So it's just weird, but no apologies. I don't get that. This, I don't get, like, it's not bothering anybody, though. Anyway, so it's weird, but then you got the guns ones, or I mean, the religious ones, and then you
Uh-huh.
get the, like, "My wife is hot" thing, because some ladies will get all offended by that, and then you get this, and I don't know, like, is that from Reddit or something? Then you get
What,
I didn't even
ATF is
know
gay?
this. Yeah, which
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Well, I mean, it's a thing, but like, I think regular people could give a shit. I'm sure gay people are going to have an opinion about it, and then people that are just like worried about optics or whatever you'd call those people. So anyway, I just don't get this. Like, this was I took a picture of it because I was like, okay, I'm documenting it, but that just threw me. It was a little bit. It was sort of like that one with all the models. Like, I expect to see this at a gun show, but not at the GOA show.
Well, what I'm looking at with something like that is you tried to be shocking and you missed by a mile and just turned into something that's kind of mid. Like
Yeah,
there was nothing there to go, oh man, I'm going to remember that one forever.
yeah.
Huh?
Like, hell, giggle. Like, I better buy that so I don't miss it. They tried
Yeah,
though, over and over and over.
they tried,
Um,
but it's kind of lame. I don't know. I don't know if our taste changed or
Now,
whatever.
did you see this guy doing this? But this is what he was doing. So I'm
Oh,
just
that's
saying.
an adult?
Yeah, look,
Oh,
this was like 5 minutes later, and then I walk back later, and there's like 20 minutes later, she's probably saying something to him, and then another 30 or 40 minutes later, if you look at the timestamps. So anyway, it was like at some point, I'm like, all right, I'm walking away.
actually, she probably thought it was somebody's missing kid and she was just being nice to it.
Scared. I guess this was, I don't know why I took that picture, honestly. Then I think just to show the building and the scale or what.
Oh, coming in? Yeah.
Yeah. This was that where we were talking about. This is where the media row was. So significantly
Huh?
smaller. I think there was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 booths. One of them
Yeah.
set up where they're, I guess that's where they were doing their meet, that what you did. And then
Yeah.
I don't know what this is. Is Newsmax like literally a place that just did a live feed, like a source, like some kind of media place?
Maybe no one was. I
Must be.
mean, there were only a couple people setting stuff up, but no one was there when I was there.
Oh, okay. And then this is something that Yehud is doing, I guess.
No, no, these people are out of New Jersey.
Oh, okay. But they
Yeah,
got
so
Pew Pew Jew as like their main thing.
yeah, and then they were like, "No, we don't know who Tony Simon is. Introduce us." Okay, so if you don't know me, you know I'm pretty freaking humble when it comes to this stuff that I do. But when you're at GOA's thing and you go, I don't know who Tony Simon from New Jersey is. We're from New Jersey, but I don't know who Tony is. And we're running this social media thing about gun stuff in Jersey. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait. I'm not going to say you should know me if you're from Kentucky. All right. I'm not going to pretend that you should know me when you're from someone else. But when I have 14 years, 14 long ass years of working in New Jersey, at every Second Amendment function, every freaking one of them, every rally almost since 2012. I've spoken. I've been on all the podcasts. I've been on Anthony Colandro's podcast, which is Gun for Hire. I've done a lot. You should have heard of me. You should have recognized my name, if nothing else. So I start to wonder your commitment. Is your commitment to the Second Amendment or is your commitment to selling this thing? Because you've done no work. You know what I
Right.
mean? In the
Right.
Second Amendment advocacy realm at all. If you're from my state, by the way, there are only like 50 hardcore members of the Second Amendment community advocacy in New Jersey, and maybe 200 people total that come to a lot of stuff. It ain't that big of a community that you shouldn't have heard of my name. I didn't say know me. I mean,
Well,
just
here's
heard
the
of my
thing. You
name.
could be industry, right, and not pay attention to advocacy because that's, I would
Yeah.
say, most people. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
condemn people for that, but you can also use Google and type in New Jersey Second Amendment, especially when it says firearms community. So if you typed in New Jersey firearms community, I suspect you're gonna come up in, you know, some amount of searches. So that is a lack of any kind of, or at least it kind of seems to be a lack of any kind of research or whatever. But I don't know. I've only seen that and there was nobody standing there. And then I
And
saw
okay.
that. So I assumed just from Dallas or something because it has you in
Yeah. So hopefully it didn't come off like, oh, Tony thinks everyone should know him. No,
So
but
this
people
is
should have heard of me
probably
if you're
the gun
in
that
the
you
state
brought
that I
up.
live in.
Oh, you brought, did you bring up that handle?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
that's the thing they were filming that you're talking about. because he got done, came over and
Yeah,
put that handle back on the table or whatever. They
yeah,
got this one. Rights don't come in semi, so that's a patch. It's a new thing. And then we went
yeah. It
downstairs,
was
and
cool.
you were like, "Oh, I want to go see this," and I'm like, "Dude, I'll show you right where it's at." And then we got that picture. I need to get the robots to pull the
Oh
background. See how
yeah,
like the rifle was melting into the sky or whatever, the roof. But the robots will peel that out. Um, this is the Desmones
Desmones.
police. I keep looking at these because I got to get a push bar for mine.
I'm sure the people of Des Moines were really tired of us mispronouncing their capital. I'm assuming it's their capital. I didn't even pay attention that much.
I'm pretty sure this is. Wait, is it? I
Looks
don't
like it.
remember the capital of Iowa. This is one of the. I think this is one of them gunshot like triangulation
Detective.
thingies. I think.
Mm.
Because this was like between the two buildings, between the two whatever, and then there was this sign. So if your like pacemaker starts glitching, here's the number to call to sue. Hey, what do you know? So this is that deal, and I think it was neat because, like I say, it's made nice. I didn't realize there was metal in there, so that's nicer than
Mm-hmm.
some of the old ones. I just like that there was a brace installed. You didn't have to like, sometimes they just had like a Picatinny or some sort of a attachment
Yeah.
ish thing in the back, and then it was up to you. Like they had a rail or something in the back, basically, and it was up to you to go find something, go source something. And this has you push a button, it shoots out, slam it forward, so it's kind of like an old HK. I think of an old HK, and
Yep.
charging handle on both sides. I was thinking of it more like because I got a bunch of Glocks, I was just going to throw one in there. But I
Mm-hmm.
like what you're saying. Like you just keep this thing. I would maybe get rid of this vert grip because I'm never going to use that. Cut all this out and fill this with magazines, and then now leave this in the vehicle. This top part of the little pouchy thing is, I'm pretty sure, a little pouch. You can a zipper pouch. Fill
Yeah.
that with
Zipper pouch.
magazines. Fill this with
Mm-hmm.
magazines, or maybe some parts kits or something like some repair stuff, like an extra bolt or something. Wait, what do you have in a Glock? Whatever parts you'd have, like an extra firing pin or something. But anyway, have it like be your parts kit, resupply, and then maybe a cleaning kit in here, but
Mm-hmm.
then your rig, and then stack of magazines. And yeah, this thing's I could see that being like a nice truck accessory. I'm gonna hesitate calling it a truck gun, but
Yeah.
I
It's not.
haven't run it either. I haven't run it. It might be
Holy
way stronger.
crap. Yes, the Des Moines is the capital of Iowa, and it has a population of 214,000 people.
That's cool. Tucson
Um,
is like 4 times bigger than that, I think.
yeah, Trenton's a small capital, and it has over 250,000 people in it. So yeah, no wonder the streets look empty to me comparatively. Even though it's the same amount of people, I think it's a larger footprint. You know what I mean? Like it's spread over a larger area. But hey, listen, Des Moines, it was clean. It was nice. I wouldn't want to live there in any way whatsoever, only because I know what's coming. It's called winter. I don't want to be there for it.
I also don't like the lack of food. Like I was really,
Oh,
maybe I
whew.
got my hopes up too high, but I really wanted to get some fresh fruit and vegetables from Iowa and Kansas and that. And I found
Yeah,
some in different states, but from Canada and from Tennessee. Like it was a fruit. I found a food, what do they call it? Farmer's market. Oh, you said there was one in Des Moines. I should have gone to that one, but
yeah.
I didn't know about that one. But then, like I said, I did find one Midwest farmers market, and it was all like imported from Canada and Tennessee. And I'm like, well, I kind of went to the Midwest expecting to eat Midwest food. For me, at least, I grew up eating Midwest tomatoes and fruit and stuff and vegetables and that, I guess. So what a tomato is in Tucson, grown in Mexico, and then they drop off all the tomatoes that aren't going to make it north. So we get
Hmm.
basically the very ripest of the Mexican tomatoes, which are what they
Yeah.
are. They're good. I'm not complaining. It's not like they're not tomatoes. It's just that I'm pretty sure it's the sand and the fertilizer. You know what I mean? They're forcing these tomatoes to grow. Where in the
Yep.
Midwest, it's like you got to stop tomatoes from being a weed. So they just taste different. And when I grew up, tomatoes were red all the way through. Nowadays, tomatoes are white in the center. And I just wanted some of them, good old fashioned tomato and some corn and watermelon stuff that came out of Midwest glacial soil. But anyway, didn't find as much as I expected. And then this is what I got for loot. I don't know if you did any loot collecting, any swag
Nah,
collecting at the show. So I did
I
get a
picked up
bunch,
some
but
stuff.
then I gave most of
Oh,
this
I'm
to
sorry.
Gizzard. I was just gonna say I gave most of this to Gizzard giveaway.
Well, I picked up some stuff, but understand I was flying and I had this whole
Oh yeah,
ass key row that I had to fit and everything. So that's the only
sure.
reason I didn't grab a bunch of stuff. But what
And
I
there was
did do
some
was
to
talk
grab,
to
but
him.
not as much as SHOT Show or anything. Definitely, I mean, this
Yeah,
is about
not
all there
close.
was to get.
So my whole thing was, hey guys, look, can you send me some stuff so we can do it as giveaway stuff? I'd
Yeah,
really appreciate that.
yeah, that's the way to do it. Now, not pictured here, SARS Malars or whatever there's, however that's pronounced.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Their hat. Did you check out? I didn't think of to tell you while we were there because I didn't know necessarily, but I picked up one of their hats at range day, two of their hats at range day. And they're some of the best hats I've ever worn, ever got, ever. They're super nice hats. So I don't know if you by chance happen to grab one from SARS Malars.
No, I didn't.
I don't know if you like ball
Actually,
caps, but I like to keep them in the car just to have them, for whatever. I don't usually wear them, but I keep one in the car usually. And because I'm in Arizona, I like a hat with more brim. But if I'm going into a store, I don't need to wear like a cowboy hat. I'll just wear a regular baseball cap. And I mean, I don't even know how to describe everything about it. Is I like though, like the material, the sewing, like those Velcro on it. It's multicam, like it's just freaking awesome. And they were free. I should have grabbed a couple. But that's not pictured here. I am super stoked about that. I mean, I like SARS Malars because they're just a cool company. I don't have any problem with their
uh,
guns, and they've always give us like good bags and stuff at the shows, at SHOT and stuff.
yep.
But yeah, those hats are like next level. I really, really hope they have them at SHOT. I'm actually thinking about emailing them and saying like, "Hey, is there any way I can get a couple more of those hats? Like, they are some of the nicest hats." Oh,
Hmm.
maybe it was a SAR. No, maybe it was SAR, not SARS Malars. It's not in my car, so I guess I don't know. But
No,
I thought it was
it's the
SARS.
same.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
it's
SARS
the
SARS
same.
Malars? Okay,
Yep.
okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. All right, guys are saying, very nice. The first thing I seen is they were multicam, so that's why I grabbed them. And then I got home when I was doing this loot with the dog hair. That's when I was like, "Oh snap, this hat is amazing! I got to remember to pick one up tomorrow in the real show." And then I totally forgot. Oh, this was the other thing. Did you get the GOA mints? Look how many mints I got. I stole all these mints.
No, I did not.
These were at the centerpiece of the table at the breakfast, but you got to breakfast late, so I bet you everybody's horked them because like some assholes grabbed
Late,
stacks
yeah.
and stacks of them right as soon as they got there. I like most of the people, if you ask Sarge and all them, they don't even know mints were on the table because I grabbed everything off the table as soon as I got there. But yeah, these are like, and I haven't had them, so now I've had some. I guess they're not like Altoids, so they're actually mints you can actually eat. Anyway,
Yeah, I think I have mints from someone. It's a really small can, though. I mean, almost like an inch by 1 inch, if not a little bit bigger. My
yeah,
boys at
that's what
One
these are.
Horse again. Yep, I love that. I love the fucking One Horse bounce back. Excuse me, Anderson guys went. Yeah, we're gonna start our own now. You guys screwed this up, so
I mean, it seems like they're doing it
we're
right.
gonna
They're
go
doing
start
the
our
right
own.
things, and they're gonna hopefully help kill the NFA. I mean, I definitely like that.
Well,
G23 is
that was
saying, is
one of
there
the
anything
things I
going
actually
on in
was
the
talking to
Midwest?
the owner, who I met at the first. Hmm?
Owner of One Horse?
Yeah, I was talking to the owner of One Horse. Didn't know he was the owner. He worked for Anderson before, and I guess he'd been there, one of the longest guys being there. And we were discussing it, and we were like, "Yo," I was like, "Yo, I didn't know that you were the owner. How did it come about?" And it wasn't something I was like, "Hey, let me do an interview." It's just me talking to someone I know and respect. I mean, you should have seen me dap him up. He was like, "You didn't know?" I was like, "No, man, I didn't know. I'm happy for you. How did it come about?" And he said, "Well, we did what we did, and then the end was near, and everybody knew what was going to happen." And he was like, "Hey, I'm not coming back." He was like, "So if you're trying to sell this and you're including me as one of the employees, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go and explore other options." And what he wanted to do was, he was like, look, dude, I had the connections. I knew the people. We were able to put it together and put the money together and come up with this. And he said, I wanted the ability to actually pivot and do things. He was like, because Anderson was so big, because most people don't know the Poverty Pony was making some of their favorite AR-15 uh, lowers and uppers.
Pieces. Yeah, pieces.
Yeah, for whatever companies they deem better than Poverty Ponies. So anyway, he wanted to be able to pivot and do some other things, and it was always slow, or you had to go through the entire family. I think it was like two brothers and a sister or something like that. But you had to go through all that to get approval, and now it's him, and he can pivot and do what he wants. And I think they're doing a good job what they put together over at One Horse with the options. And it's actually a gun company run by gun dudes that are in the industry and that pull triggers and that actually listen to customer feedback and are agile enough to actually implement it if it makes sense. So I think that's always a good thing.
Earlier, let's see. Oh, G23 had said, is there anything in the Midwest except for corn? They make corn and then cow corn. So there's human corn and cow corn. So you have to get used to looking at the two. And then soya beans, like it's a shit ton of soya beans. And then there's other things. But the thing is about it makes my experience growing up around the Midwest is even if the place was a cow corn, whatever, like soybeans, some what do they call it, a commodity crop or whatever.
Yep.
Um,
Hmm.
and they would almost always have like a couple of acres where they grew whatever they felt like, to just have for themselves. And then whatever was extra, they would often take to like a farmer's market and get rid of. If there wasn't a place that had like 10 acres of regular fruits and vegetables, just for the local area. And that's what I miss. Or I guess what I was hoping to find and I didn't.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's really funny. Like if we had one of these events in Jersey, right? What's your Jersey food? Because you guys, da, da, da. I'm like, one, we can hit you up with breakfast. Like we have foods, right? We have foods that are Jersey food. We also have food that is ethnic for this area. So it's a lot of food here because we are so diverse in everything. Oh, you want food from the Middle East? You want food from like Pakistan, period? Like we can get that specific here in Jersey, you know what I mean? It's like,
well, yeah, cities usually have like a lot of enough people to have a lot of like towns, whatever you want to call them, right? Right, Little Italy and whatever, like Chinatown, like the different regions of a thing, or like at least where the stores are. But then you get like restaurants and stuff. But I think New Jersey, come on, you guys have lots of foods that came
yeah,
from New Jersey. And then, like I say,
yeah,
styles of things like pizza. Nobody can say we own pizza except Chicago. But like, most people can go like, we own this kind of pizza. Like this is our style of pizza. So it's like sandwiches or sodas or whatever, drinks. There's always that. Or, but I'm trying to think. I don't. It's mostly stuff I don't eat. But there's a lot of I don't know, sandwiches and stuff I can think of that come from New Jersey.
yeah.
Jersey
I mean,
Mike's, like that is I'm assuming from the sandwiches that come from there or something.
don't pay attention to Jersey Mike's. Jersey Mike's
Well,
is a
obviously
corporate.
that's the court, yeah,
Well,
the franchised version of it, but it had to
yeah,
originate something.
yeah. So we have good subs here. That's pretty much what everybody calls them, a sub. I don't remember hero or grinder being a big thing here, but we have that. We have pork roll, egg and cheese sandwiches. We have bagels. We have pizza. And oh, don't call it pizza. We don't. Yes, we own pizza. Oh, New York, shut up. New York got better marketing for their pizza, but really the best pizza made in America is a pizzeria in New York, run by a dude from Jersey. So shut up. We win. But yeah. So I was expecting that, and that's what I try to do anytime. Just like you, we go to these places. Like, hey, I'm in this city in this part of the country that I wouldn't be in if it wasn't for this thing. So let me try this food that they make. Oh, cool. Like being down in St. Louis, I tried the pizza that they have, or whatever the Harry Heck they had, that was bland. It was sucky. But they had good food. It was just that particular thing that they made, and I forgot what it is, how they had it. I think it might have been pizza. It might have been the way they make it. I forgot what it was, but I didn't enjoy it. But I tried it, and it was different, and they still had good food. Well, Iowa didn't. They're allergic to seasonings. They're allergic to seasonings, and I was really glad because the first day I was there, I had biscuit sausage. What do you call it? Biscuits and gravy. Wow, I don't even know what the meat was in the biscuits and gravy, but
See, that's disappointing because you'd think that, so many I think there's so many slaughterhouses. I guess I don't know, but I'm assuming all the cows go somewhere, Kansas, Nebraska, and Iowa, somewhere to get chopped up. They're not doing it in Chicago
hmm
anymore like the olden days.
yeah,
And I don't think they're doing it in Colorado anymore. So I'm assuming they're doing it in those states. And you would think that, just like anything, like the freshest, maybe the best pieces, get snuck out into the
hmm
restaurants or something. I
I
went
I was
to a
just
place in Kansas where Gizzard is at. I don't wanna keep talking shit about stuff, but I'm just gonna play it like it is or whatever, say it like it is, but same thing, like, I went to the where Gizzard lives is a little town, so I'm not I know what it's like living in a little town. You get
hmm
what you get. So, it's mostly chains, unfortunately, this time of this years, but he did have a couple of restaurants, and one of them was run by some ladies that basically were open when they felt like it, and
mm,
so there was no way to know when they're open, right? So I
yeah,
am leaving town. I stop at the place to grab some. I was eating a lot of watermelon, the cubed watermelon everywhere. So I
mm,
stopped to get some watermelon for the trip. And as I'm in line, I'm eavesdropping to the guy in front of me who's chatting with the whatever the clerk at the grocery store, and he's saying, "I just got back from breakfast. The sisters are open." And I knew enough to know that's what that meant, that that restaurant was open that morning. So I went over there, right? Because I wanted to have heard about it. It's even though it's a small town, more than one people and told me about that was a good restaurant. It's basically an alternative to Casey's and the Sonic
mm,
or whatever. So anyway, I go there and I mean, the bacon was amazing. It was like good,
mm,
thick, real bacon and cooked well and everything. Egg, whatever. It was a little bit expensive, but I'm in a small town. Like it has to cost something to get stuff there and whatever. But dude, like, it was some kinda, New York City salsa, and I'm not a snob or whatever, but at the same time, you expect how hard is it to make salsa? Seriously, it's like some
hmm
tomatoes, it's like 5 ingredients in a blender, and it's one of those things you get to say you make it yourself type of thing, and it just tastes so much fresher, and I'm totally used to it. Like, I just every restaurant you go to in Tucson, they're making their own stuff, like, that's half the battle is they make their own salsas and stuff. So anyway, being disappointed with some kinda jarred salsa, bottled salsa on the side of this. I mean, again, bacons taste great, eggs probably taste great, peppers or something that was in there, but by themselves without nothing was like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like, you're allowed to get stuff out of a bottle and put it on there, like, you're allowed to shake something
yeah,
on there as you're making it. But anyway,
yeah. It's
so
on
I
my
was a little bit
part.
disappointed in that Midwest food, but it's probably because those people would fall over if they ate too many spices, like, they're not used to it, it would hurt their systems or something. There's a lot of old people in the Midwest, a lot of people that eat corn a lot, I don't know. There's some reason for it. They're all from
And
Germany
also,
and, like, Netherlands and stuff, they're all from, like, the Nordic lands where they don't have spices, I guess, so they just it's
yeah,
not in their culture.
it take them out. But I also have to be fair about the hotel. Most of them use the same Sodexo or whoever
Yeah,
to provide
Cisco
the
food
food.
source, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I said Cisco. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's like, so they have a choice, and maybe they'll have a choice of this is the Midwest favorite meat. You know what I mean? But like, they don't get it all. So I get it. But man, come on.
Dude, I would say, the hotel that I stayed in next to the place, like I was saying, was 5 well, I was on the 5th floor, and I don't think I was on the top, so maybe 6 or 7 stories even, and
hmm
then, I mean, a lot of rooms, and, it was, like I say, there was 2 I guess your hotel was attached to the building, and then there was a hotel in
hmm
between us and the building, so it wasn't the closest, but it was, like, the 3rd closest hotel as I can tell, and it cost a lot of money, it was 100 something dollars a night for a number of nights, but then there was a mouse in there or something, like either a giant bug that could run really fast or a mouse because I seen it go from like under the bed. No, it went from the cabinet where the microwave and refrigerator were under the bed. And I'm like, damn it, did I just see something? Like, what the hell? I'm in a fancy hotel and I just seen something zip across there. I'm like, well, Maybe I
Not
had
cool.
an eye floater or something, right? A little while later, went back, and I'm like, now I know there's something in here, and I'm still not
Hmm.
convinced. Thing is, in Arizona, if a bug is that big, I'm not worried about it because it's not biting us. It's not those kind of bugs don't bother people. Those kind of bugs are just either eating other bugs or fruit and stuff. So I'm not too worried about a giant bug, unless it's a roach. Then I don't want it around me or a cockroach or something. But,
Yeah.
if it's a mouse, then I'm concerned because then it's getting into, my stuff. I don't wanna be driving home with a mouse from Iowa or whatever. So, anyway, that was a little bit weird considering it was the most expensive hotel I was in, the fanciest hotel I was in on the trip, and I stayed in, like, a bunch of hotels, and none of them, like, all of them were better than that one. Not that it was bad, but because of that mouse or whatever freaked me out, and, anyway, you're in a room. I left the door open for a little while, hoping that, it
I
would
hope it
leave,
would leave.
get the dog in there. But, I didn't see it leave, so, anyway, yeah, a little bit weird having to sleep with a mouse in the room potentially. Not that it's
Yes. Just
too worried, but,
when
while you're sleeping, it comes up and eats on your ear or something. I don't know what mice do.
I'm not even worried about that. I just don't want to bring a little guy home.
That's true too. Yeah, exactly. You're on an airplane, like, "Hey, what's in your bag? Why are you trying to bring this on the plane?" Like, I would that
Yeah.
that's that. Alright, so Grim Reaper saying soya beans, that they make soya beans there. I didn't see that many fields. I was actually pretty impressed with whatever they're calling Iowa. I'm not 100% convinced. This is probably what happened, I think. So there's Missouri, right? It's a pretty big state, and at one point, people lost track of how far north it goes before you actually hit whatever it would be, North Dakota or South Dakota, whatever's up there.
Hmm.
So, I think what actually happened was a bunch of freshmen, pranksters went out on some night and changed a bunch of signs from Missouri. They had all the letters from Missouri, but they didn't want to have to respell it. So they just put up Iowa just as a funny prank word that no one would understand. And
Hmm.
then made a bunch of signs in northern Missouri say Iowa, like, just on a weekend as a prank. And then I think what happened is all those people are so polite, they just said, "Oh, I guess we live in Iowa now," and Iowa happened. But I'm not 100% sure there's any real paperwork along with it. Like, I haven't actually seen any kind of contract that says Iowa exists, but in any case, it was a lot better than I considered. I think I've driven through it before, and I remember it being a lot flatter and boringer, but I would say since I drove through it quite a bit, and Kansas, and a little bit actually, I was in Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Kansas, Colorado, did I already say Missouri, and, Iowa, so I was in a shit ton of states, but mainly because all these states have these, like, weird little fingers into each other, and when you cut across, you hit, like, 3 states in an hour, so I did that multiple times, but, I'm just pretty impressed. I was pretty neat, pretty, how did you get out to the range? Did you take the bus, or did you drive out with people?
Yeah. I drove out. I caught a ride with my friends. So
So I expected it
and
to be a lot more just fields, because like Southern Illinois, horrible. Like chunks of Missouri, horrible. Definitely chunks of Kansas, horrible. Just because they're straight roads through farm fields, and unless you have some sort of like methamphetamine going through your blood, like it just you fall asleep. I don't know how people stay awake. Truckers and stuff, like it's just impossible. So I can stay awake with a monster through like Colorado and stuff. And then New Mexico can be horrible because there's no farms, but there's just straight lines, straight roads of sand, and that can be pretty tough too. But Iowa was like terrain. You're going up and down, you're curving around once in a while. The roads aren't all straight. At least the roads I was on weren't all straight, and way more trees and just more interesting stuff to see. And even if you are going to drive through farms, it's more interesting to see like a bunch of trees and then boom, a farm opens up and now you see what kind of farm it is. And then it's trees again, as opposed to like Kansas, where it's just farm, 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 farm. And what's depressing now, like, man, I've been doing road trips my whole life, I guess, but for a long time I've been doing these road trips. And since I seek out the local restaurant, right, like the if I can, like the local gun shop, stuff like that for years, um, it was always depressing to see the little towns turn into little franchise things. Like there's always a Walmart, there's always a McDonald's, of course, right? There's always like the 12 Sonics is a pretty popular one, right? There's like the 12 most popular franchise or whatever you want to call like chain restaurants that have taken over. But now when
hmm
you drive through Kansas, what's sad, and I don't know when this happened because I don't drive through Kansas, but like 4 times in my life or something. But like you drive through Kansas, and what I noticed is grain elevators seem like, you think if you're not paying attention, you're like, oh, I'm driving up to a city with skyscrapers, but in reality, it's just some grain elevators in the middle of nowhere. And you drive past them, and they just, because they're so tall, like I don't know how tall they're, 20, like 300 feet tall or something, in the middle of cornfields. They look big, but the thing is, back in the day, I guess you'd own a farm and you would take your corn to a silo and they'd put it on I don't know what happens. They put it on a train, I guess. I don't know what happens. But now, if there's 10 silos you pass, 9 of them are abandoned. One of them is owned by ConAgra,
A mega.
multi
Yep.
operation or whatever, and it's huge, and everyone is there, but every farm around there is owned by ConAgra or whatever. I'm just saying that word. I don't know, like ag friendly ag or some company.
100%.
And it's like, wow, everything's getting super corporate. And I've heard of like whatever, some of these rich people like own chunks of all of that. And I'm like, shit, that's kind of weird that, you can, I don't know, experience it on that span, that what's the word, like spectrum, or no, scale, I guess, because you're driving for like half of a day past the same company. Like, holy shit, they own a lot of land. Like, holy shit. And the thing is, like, back in the day, I'm sure that was like every mile was a different family, right? Like, that's that family's farm. Okay, now we're in this family's farm. Maybe there was a bigger family that had a bigger farm, but you're passing multiple businesses basically. And now it's just one giant business. The houses are still there, so I'm assuming people still live on all these farms, but I have no idea.
They probably bought it and hired them, or they bought an old crew, bought the house, bought the land, and then bring their crew in to work with their family. You know what I mean?
For $10 an hour to work there. But yeah, I'm sure I'm sure people still live there with their families, because it's tough to farm. Like Brooke just said, right? Farming isn't easy or nothing. I'm not talking shit about farmers. I just thought it was interesting to see so many abandoned grain silos. And my other trips that I've driven, I guess I probably spent too much time on big highway, so I just never noticed how many of the silos were basically just only there because no one decided to knock it down yet, but they're not doing anything. Let's see. G23 says, still haven't seen proof of New York being a part of the United States. I've been to New York. I know they exist.
Yeah, no, New York has been around since before United States, so you can't play that one off. You cannot like New York politics, but you can't you can't act as if it's not one of the 13 original colonies.
So the Kiger, wonder when One Horse is going to be doing a handgun? That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
probably a minute, right? Because they're all tooled up for ARs.
Well, I don't know if they bought all. I think Ruger got all the tooling from Anderson when they bought it, and I don't know if they gave up the machine that makes freaking their pistols. And I don't know how much that was moving anyway. How many people were buying the Anderson Kiger pistols? I know they would sell them in a bundle every summer. They'd put the rifle and pistol together and sell it for like a really cool price. But I don't know if they were really moving. So would the new company start doing that? Probably not in the first couple of years.
See, that'd be an interesting conversation to have. Like, I don't know if you do it at Goals, but like try to contact some people at Goals or Shot or something and then try to have this conversation. But we know that there's been like different waves of firearms owners, or like the interest in firearms has changed over the years, right? And then different influences like 2020 and stuff, the riots. Nobody talks about the riots before 2020, but that was a big kind of like kind of set the stage for the panic buying of 2020, right? Because it was already like a massive purchasing like rush in that. And I would say new gun owners coming into the scene, but based off of fear of like, hey, my neighborhood's in disarray or whatever, or I'm scared my neighborhood's going to be next or whatever, right? So those people were buying guns, and then 2020 happened, and all that stuff got dwarfed, or at least not discussed anywhere near as much. And then tons of new people came into the scene with the whole 2020 and all the rest of that. So that being said, right, all these new people come in. If you tried to pan off 9mm on people like me, then we go, nah, unless that 9mm is somehow magic, like the Glocks were. Like, I don't even need a 9mm in my life, right? Just because I've been around guns my whole life and I don't need it. If you try to tell me a new 22 to compete with the 1022 or the Marlin, whatever it is going to exist, like, no, I don't need that. I don't shoot 22s enough, right? So there's just certain things that like gun owners set in their ways are just never going to buy. Like revolvers, try to sell a revolver to anybody right now, right? Like that's got to be a pretty tough sell because most people coming into the
Actually,
scene are told revolvers aren't. Well, I'm just saying in general, like
no,
revolvers
but
aren't worth buying. Go ahead.
so now revolvers are actually coming back with the newest generation of people because they're thinking it's cool. They're tired of the semi-autos, the new Gen Zs or Gen Ys or whatever, the younger, 21 and up, because it's cool. It's not something somebody had. Understand that right now we're in an era where what's popular metal guns are back, right? Like that's a new thing. Oh, it's a metal gun. Oh, okay, cool. Oh, it's the 1911. Well, they're all over the place. I mean, it's almost like a circular thing. The 1911, 2011s are now the new it guns. Hammer fired is back. Polymer's always been around. Now polymer seen as the old guy thing, which is really funny because I guess I'm the old guy because I was prior to the polymer revolution. Um, so it's circular, and yeah, people are buying more revolvers now. That's why Smith, Colt, Diamondback, and Taurus, and then of course Charter Arms never stopped making them. But all those companies are making revolvers now, and none of them are hurting.
No, look, okay, so I picked a bad example because I don't want to disagree with you. But
Oh yeah,
all I'm saying
but yeah,
is
yeah,
that
you're right.
it's a hard sell to sell like a new gun on the block to somebody who already has all their guns or has been on the block for enough times to know that's not a new gun on the block. That's just your new flavor of it, right? Or like when somebody
Hmm.
sells their gun to somebody else, right? Like like the whatever it was, the Springfield tried to pull the HS 2000s as man, I can't remember what they were called, the XDs. Remember when the XDs
Okay.
first came out?
Yep.
There was a whole
Hmm.
bunch of people that were like, "Oh, XT, cool! Look, it comes with a holster right in the box." And I was one of those people. It's not like I'm better than anybody. I was one of those people. It's like, "Oh wow!" And I owned it, a Springfield XD, because it came with all that shit in the box. And when I first started carrying, I was carrying a, well, it doesn't matter, but whatever. I bought one, and then later said, no, I don't like this and I hate the company, so I'm getting rid of it, right? But that was appealing to, I think it was probably, now that I'm thinking about it, it was like a wave of whether or not they were new gun owners, they were new to CCW because everybody forgets now that we have CCW in every single state and we have or constitutional carry in 29 states. In 2000 and whatever, the internet started, 2005, let's say, when we started really talking about guns on the internet and forums and stuff, there was no concealed carry, like constitutional carry anywhere except for Alaska. And no one counted that because no one lived in Alaska. And there was only concealed carry in like 9 states or something at that point, right? Maybe 11 or something. So we got all the concealed carry in like 10 years. Like every single state went from fuck you, you can never carry a gun if you're not a cop to okay, you can carry a gun concealed in like 10 years. So pretty much everybody who acts like they've been doing concealed carry, you might have been doing it for 13 years, you know what I mean? But most people have been carrying for less than 10 years. So, I mean, we get a lot of experience from carrying a gun every day that, for any amount of time. But I'm just saying, like, that's fairly new experience for a lot of us. So I think that's how the XDs existed for a while. When how Springfield was able to do that because so many gun owners were becoming new CCWs. Anyway, that being said, what I'm getting at is I'm thinking of like the roast Martin, however that one's called, and
Ross Martin. Yeah.
Ross
Ross
Martin,
Martin.
and then I just don't know. I've never talked to him, and maybe One Horse, but like these companies that are new-ish, where again, like me or somebody like me, I guess,
Mhm.
who is somebody trying to sell me a new pistol. I'm like, I don't need a new pistol. I was interested in a
Yeah.
new pistol when I was 17, but I only
Yeah.
buy what I want now. And if I was a competition shooter, I'd be like, I don't want that new pistol. Anyway, what I'm getting at is I wonder with these new companies that are coming out with new guns, if they're seeing it as the wave is over, like, because they had, like, I'm not saying artificial, but they definitely had an influx of customers from 20, 21, 22, and then it probably started to fade off. And I'm wondering, just like we've seen in other uh, trends or whatever that people got sick of, like, I'm just wondering if these new guns are if I guess what we got started on this is if a company like One Horse should make a pistol. And I'm just saying, if I'm looking at things at the 30,000-foot view or the 30-year view, like this isn't the time to come out with a new pistol. It might be the time to keep some Q&A going, like figure out how to make a new pistol and get it all figured out behind the scenes. but I wouldn't put out a new pistol until like the NFA gets repealed, or like those 11 states that are holdouts get constitutional carry or something, right? Where like there's going to be like a swarm of new pistol buyers. But I just don't see anywhere on the horizon right now in 2026 a new swarm of pistol buyers hitting the market. And I just mean pistol, like handgun, like pistol, revolver, or whatever. Rifles, I think a lot of people who bought those pistols from fear are going to look around and go, maybe I should buy a shotgun or a rifle for whatever reason. So I think there's lots of reasons to tool up rifling still, or shotguns and long guns, but I could see being slow to bring out new handguns. That's a long ass way of saying that, I guess.
Oh, I totally get where you're coming from, because what else you bringing to the table? Now, what's getting crazy though is the loyalty. The loyalty seems to be missing from some, because I have to keep in mind that I don't hang out with regular when I'm talking to people in the podcast, gun tube podcasting thing. They see things on another level. But when I'm hanging out at my diversity shoots, a couple times a month, and I'm talking to people that might be buying their first, second, third, or fourth gun, you know what I mean? They're still looking at Springfield. They're still looking at the name brands, the big four, I guess you can say. But for a lot of other people, they want to check out the price point guns, and that's where they're coming in. So yeah, Ross Martin, a lot of bang for the buck. The Mete from Canak and that whole line. So those guys are filling in and coming in and taking over, and taking a percentage from the old school companies that really aren't doing anything. And then when you had the double stack 1911s, well, you had, what's the stupid big name everybody freaking drools over?
The one down in
Staccato.
Texas, Staccato.
Yeah, Staccato. Yeah, Staccato. And well, their price point is high for most people. And then when EAA and Kimber and my boys over at Argentinian company guys, Bursa. And Bursa started making their American-made double stack. Now they're talking $1,200, $1,300 instead of $2,000, $3,000, and people can afford that for the most part if they're, depends on where they're coming in at. Like some of the people, I used to assume everybody would come like us. You know what I mean? You're a young person, you only have so much disposable income. Well, now these people are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s buying their first handgun, so they are not blinking at a $1,200 AR.
Plus, they
and a
haven't grown
$1,200
up
pistol.
trying to buy things at gun shows for a third of the price of new. You know what I mean? Like they haven't haggled
Yeah.
or nothing, so they don't even know. It's like watching a movie. What's that? Is it Jodie Foster? Some movie. I think it's Jodie Foster's in this movie, and she goes into a gun shop in New York. She's like, "I want to buy a gun," and I'm like, "Oh, it's a pain in the ass. Can't buy it." So she goes out in the alley and buys like a Sig for $3,000. I don't know if you remember that movie.
Yeah.
And we couldn't even. Brooke, quit throwing money at us, please. Thanks. I'll give that to Tony. $70. But yeah, please quit putting super chats in there. But appreciate it. But yeah, please put in it. Please stop putting in there. YouTube takes a third of it for one, but yeah, we're not. So we'll give it to Tony. The diversity shoot can use it. But I can't remember what movie that was. But whenever we watched it, we almost choked on whatever we were drinking because what the hell movie? Like I don't know if they're trying to prove a point or if they're that delusional or if they just don't have any reference for what a gun costs. But $3,000 for a Sig, holy moly! For like a black market alley Sig or whatever.
Yeah.
So a little bit more, but at least other movies have it. Usually, it's cheaper to buy a gun, off the streets or whatever than more expensive. But anyway. But anyway, I think what happened was when 2020 and all that, because I don't like to group people together, because the thing is the only thing that groups the new gun owners from 2020 together is that they bought new guns in 2020. Because seriously, if you're coming from this or that life experience, I mean, you're buying your gun for a whole different reason. Anyway, I think what happened, like exactly what you said, these people have no idea what a gun costs. They could care less because they have adult money and they're only buying one gun. The other thing is like, at least for me, I was like, every time I bought a gun, I know I'm buying another gun. So I'm not going to put every dollar I've got into my gun because I know I need another gun. And I know I need magazines and holsters and shit for it. So I'm not going to, you know what I mean? Like if I got $500, I go into a gun show, I'm spending 300 on a gun because I know I need 200 and other shit. So anyway,
Yeah.
unless you've done that, then you know what I mean. Like, yeah, $2,000 for a gun, okay. Plus, everyone's
I
telling
never
you it's a $2,000 gun, so yeah, it's not like you're getting ripped off.
I never thought about that, but yes, growing up, yes, every gun I got, I knew there'd be another one coming. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to spend every dime on this one thing, and I got to get mags for it, and I got to get a holster if I'm going to have a holster, even to draw from or whatever. I mean, this Uncle Mike's will do, but hey, you know, there's new people now. It's pretty cool though, and they have access to stuff we didn't. We had gun magazines that came out once a month. They have the internet that you can freaking fall down a rabbit hole and get 17 the best gun to buy videos.
Well, and
And
that's not a bad thing though, because that means they can go find 2 or 3 people that are like them, body shape, like age, right, live in the like carrying the same kind of gun. Like you can find that. Where I was just gonna say, like when you're right, when we listen to a magazine, think about like I never really scrutinized what I read when I was a kid because I have to think about it for a minute. But
mhm,
I can pretty much summarize it as whatever we read in, like, SWAT or Survival Guide is what I read most of the time. I'm sure that was either written by, like, a cop or somebody who
uh-huh.
wishes they were a cop or something, but, I know some of the writers, so, like, definitely dudes who were writing for young kids and, new cops or
Yep.
whatever, because they know an old cop ain't reading that magazine anymore, so they're writing it for the
Nope.
new people, but, anyway, so yeah, written with 100% like, this is my what do they call it? Like rules of engagement. You're going to be a cop. You're going to be, there was no body armor back then. You're going to be using this kind of stance because that's what we teach you in cop school. Where again, today, now you can be like, well, I'm not going to be, I'm going to carry it in my purse. I'm going to carry it in my pocket. I'm going to carry it appendix. I'm going to carry it, I don't know, small of the back. There's got to be some people
Mhm.
out there that are like, fuck
How
you, I'm
far?
carrying small of the back no matter what. So they can, like, it's legal. You're allowed to do
Yeah.
whatever you want. So,
I hate my spine. Yeah, I'm carrying small.
I don't want to be able to get my gun when I'm sitting down. Oh,
But yeah,
okay. Which brings
100%,
up
bro.
a great point. He says if you bought a gun for the first time in 2020, you also bought weird guns because the availability was crazy. And
Yep.
that is a great point. I don't think about that. But again, yeah, you can go into a gun shop and be like, oh, okay, I got 4 choices instead of 40. I guess I am buying the best of
Well,
4 instead of the most
you
optimal
know
of
what?
40.
Yeah, he's 100% right, and I find it interesting that also would explain companies like SARS, companies like I said, Canik and the Mete, and the other brands that came out, or that were those Turkish brands getting imported, that all of a sudden had a lot of purchasers, and then you had a lot of people sitting at home with their new gun that decided to make content. So now you got videos of your thing. Before it might have been just that weird ass gun that you picked up and nobody ever saw, and you couldn't even find a video on it. Well, now that was the only thing in gun stores throughout total regions that got dumped out here, and now there's videos on it. So now you got a positive reinforcement of your choice, because usually people look for videos of guns after they buy their gun, just to get, yeah, you bought the right thing because I have one too, kind of thing.
Oh,
So
I'm
yeah.
sorry to hear that Brooke says she got the SARS virus after SHOT Show 2024, unless I'm reading that incorrectly.
Oh my goodness, I don't even know what you wrote. I took my glasses off and I'm cleaning
Oh, she says, "I did get a SARS after SHOT Show 2024."
them. Yeah, so I mean, I've shot them and I've tactically fondled them at shows because they're CZ clones for their metal ones. And then at GunCon last year, I was able to get to their booth as there was a lull at the range, and I shot every gun they had. They had them all stacked up and loaded, and they recorded me running through all of them from the smallest to the tactical gun that one of their shooters actually runs in competition. And I'm telling you, nothing tells you how a gun runs until you get to the end of something like one of the shows we go to, and this thing has been on the line for 8, 10 hours. That gives you some idea how they run, because it's outside, it's dust, dirt blowing around, and everything else. People that have been limp resting and everything, because I mean, shocker, some of these gun people don't know how to shoot for crap. Um, and if the gun is still running, it's something to really check out.
Well, and there's always going to be the like, well, I'm aligned with this company, but I am going to go shoot this gun. Am I going to shoot it? Am I going to give it a fair shake, or am I going to hold it all limpy? So that it.
Mm,
And I'm sure
true.
that's happening. But yeah, there's
Oh yeah.
definitely no or very little concern about like, hey, has this been cleaned enough, or can I help you run a couple of swaps through the barrel, or like, hey, this thing seems like it's getting clogged up. Like none of that. You just pick it up, shoot it, set it down, maybe chat a little bit, walk on. It's kind of like a gun show. Some of the people that are letting you shoot their stuff are chatty and they want to tell you all about it. And other people are just like, you know the deal. Here's some ammo. Here's our gun. Shoot it and move on, please. Or just keep shooting.
Hmm.
They don't care. Like it's crazy because I mean, I don't know if I know SHOT Show has clinics and like learning sessions for people who are going to exhibit at SHOT Show so that they don't waste the amount of money they're spending at SHOT Show. But I don't know if these other events bother with that. But the person that they send to the booth, you could have a really cool product. You can have a really thought out booth and like a really well built, thought out booth or whatever with, lots of information and stuff. And you send like some dumb, I'm just going to say 17-year-old kid who's looking at their phone and that
Hmm.
happens sometimes. Like I went to a couple of those tables at this event. We're looking at the picture of the event. I don't know what to call these things, like shade tents. They're not Quonset huts. They would be a
Yeah.
Quonset hut if they were longer, but they're basically kind of shade. But I don't even want to call them shade because they're so tall that I bet you they're useless parts of the time. Anyway, what they are. That's the shooting lines, and then uh what is there? 10, not even 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 tables, maybe 10 tables underneath the two big ones, and then like 5 or 7 tables underneath the small ones. So that many companies. And then there was more than this. There was some stuff to the left and to the right, but this was the majority of it. All I'm saying is that of all those booths we're looking at in front of us, in those tents or whatever they are, I would say at least one or maybe two under each of the tents, there was somebody there that just had guns on the table, either didn't load them or they were over there fucking with their phone or trying to do something on their, underneath the shade or whatever, but we're not paying attention to their table at all. So it's weird, you know what I mean? Like you spend a lot of money to bring your stuff to an event, and I want to say crucial, but like the only day where people are going to get hands on it, and these people literally their whole gig is to go talk about what they just like what we're doing, spending hours talking about what we did, and then you're not going to have your stuff available. Like you're just going to just so anyway. I think that's a fatal error that a couple of them seem to at every show. It's not like it happened just at this show. And I don't know if, I'm sure they didn't plan for that, but I don't know if they're aware that that's happening, you know what I mean? Like when they at the end of the show and their people come back and report, I'm sure they didn't say, "Well, I was talking on my phone all day and nobody liked our stuff." You know what I mean? They're going to say, "Hey, I don't know, we shot all that ammo, but nobody wanted to do nothing about it." Do you shoot any calibers at the event or see any guns and calibers at the event that were either interesting, new, or you didn't expect?
Oh, by the way, these things are called. Let me see. They were 60 foot by 131 foot clear span Lossberger event tents.
Oh, okay.
All right, so I never heard of them. I mean, I saw them, but I know they had to have a name. But that thing was perfect. Let me see.
Interesting. Well, I'm sure they're
No,
there permanently. They didn't just put them up for
yeah,
this.
yeah, no, no, that they're there. I mean, they have the grass cut and arranged the exact same size as the tent. I think it's great actually because it allows you to shoot and you don't get the echo. Again,
Yeah.
I introduced new shooters to stuff, and new shooters would have had a great time at that one of the more sparsely populated tents. I couldn't. Your grandmother wouldn't have pissed herself
Right.
with someone shooting a 50 cal beside her.
Yeah.
Um,
That's for sure. And they were pointed
so
north. It's a good range. I'm not bitching about
yeah,
the range.
yeah, loved it. What? No, caliber that was like, hey, what's that, or is that unique?
Well, they're talking about 380s in the chat, and I'm all about 380. I've liked 380, but now I've bought that too. I bought a Glock 380 and a Smith and Wesson 380. So I've recently
Well,
been into them because they're so little. But anyway, that's not
I
really that
was
new anymore. Those are kind of old already at this point.
yeah. So I've been into larger 380s mainly because living here, introducing people to firearms that are not in that demographic. Understand, my demographic is a little weird because of the diversity shoots and the people I welcome. So I have your mom, your grandma, your aunts at my events, and everything doesn't have to be, that double stack 9mm really doesn't fit her hand. It's a weird thing for her to be in at first. She'll get used to it, but I'm like, you know what? I'll work a full size 380 that she can actually get her hand around easily, and it doesn't have a lot of recoil. And it gives her that step into semi automatic fire in a center fire pistol. So the round itself is more dependable than, oh, start them on the 22. Yeah, no, I can start her on a 380. Again, understand the demographic ain't a broke person. So they can afford 380 ammo and I can get them shooting that. And now all of a sudden they're like, oh, this is nice. And now they can see the ramp up to a 9mm isn't that steep, or they could just stop right there and get a full size 380 and have that as their home defense gun. They don't have to worry about it, because again, we're in an urban area. People are much closer together up here. Having that 380 will give her multiple rounds she can put on target and also don't have the penetration of a 9mm going into the neighbor's house who is one wall or two walls away. So for me, 380 has been a thing for a really long time. Now,
G23 is talking about, I guess it's a Gerson, but I think other
mhm,
companies make it, but with
the
that
tip,
tip-up barrel,
yep,
yeah,
that tip up barrel works too.
what's really
Uh,
great for people that don't have dexterity or strength.
and it's the bigger one. They have the fuller size one. I think it was like the Beretta Cheetah 80 or something, the Beretta 80, that
Mhm.
size. So whole handful, it's metal, so it's heavier, also more traditional feeling, and they feel real good, dude.
People have this,
You can,
like, concept that, like, it's all gonna be like some kinda tombstone, like, you get in this confrontation with the bad guy, there's a pause, and then it's like a first one to draw and make a hit, is gonna walk away with their life. And reality, it's a lot of brandishing and what you're comfortable with and grabbing a gun before you go to the door, for, like, old people and stuff. So,
hmm
yeah, I agree with you
yeah,
about
and look,
380.
everybody, and it sucks because it's like, oh, Tony, you act like I do something different than most people. That's all. So I'm looking at it from a different perspective than some people, which is I have 20 to 25 new people twice a week from different demographics and backgrounds. So my perception is slightly different than you if you only hang out with your military age male friends, healthy male friends. Like my thing is different. I'm dealing with everybody in your family tree as if you had a family reunion at my event. We got all of those people there, from the 10-year-old to the first time mom. The mom of one kid that spoiled them and is bringing them to the event because she want to introduce them to something. To a girl that wants to feel empowered. To da 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 da. Just on down the list. So I'm seeing some things differently than people see things, and doesn't mean you're wrong. It's just mean I have a different perspective because I feel I sound like that sometimes.
I think some people hear it that way because I just know why, but, I think some people hear it that way, but I don't know if you're necessarily, um,
Okay, cool.
you know what I mean?
I
Like, I don't
Yeah.
think there's any misunderstanding with your intention.
All right. So yeah, I
Um,
do like the 380. I didn't see anything. I thought 5.7 was cool, but good Lord have mercy, it's expensive. But other makers make it. Didn't really help the ammo go down. Um, but I don't think anybody had anything crazy. I mean, do you remember anybody having anything like?
well, the thing is, I don't pay attention to rifles hardly at all, so there's
Oh,
probably some rifle caliber,
okay.
some suppressor, blah, 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 that
So
happened that I don't know because I wouldn't it's not even in my radar, but
so the ammo
nothing.
available. If you one of the ones that want to get on the new ammo, Fort Scott ammunition had all like a lot of the newer stuff. A lot of the arc rounds they've just started producing, or they're running R&D on it, because I was standing there talking to them, and people were coming up asking for the latest ammo for these rifles that are a big hit now, and most of it they did have it at the show on their table, and they were selling ammo there. So if you want to check out some of your arc 6.8 arc da 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 whatever frig, check it out. I'm not that into those rifles, mainly because I can't do long distance shooting here in Jersey. And I'm sticking to stuff with the indoor range that I can run. So, pistol calibers and 7.62 by 39, 7.62 by 54, 5.56. I'm good with all of that. And we just shot 30-06 at my event last night or Thursday, because one of my guys bought a Garand, and that was some of the ammo we had donated. If you want to really almost poop yourself, like if you're, what's that word, constipated, go to a range and have somebody shoot an M1 Garand in the bay next to you and not tell you they were shooting an M1 Garand. I guarantee you the floodgates will open. Wear your brown pants. I was not ready for it. And I had foamies in. I didn't have over the ears. And when that dude pulled the trigger on that, I was like, oh my God. Yeah, so that's loud, baby.
So I brought my multicam Howard lights that I always have used because I like them. They're
Mhm.
multicam and they're Howard lights. I like those.
Cool.
But Axel sent me a set of some kind of things, 3.0
Ooh.
something or others, right? Where they're like foamies, but they're electric foamies.
Mhm.
So I used them. I don't know how to use them right, so they don't work for me. They probably work because it looks like the light goes on, but I don't get them, or else I'm deaf. But whatever. It was interesting. So I used them. It was essentially like having foamies in,
Mhm.
and I would take them out all the time because I couldn't get the thing. I couldn't tell if they were on or not. So I need to. This was also the second time I ever put them in my ears. Just the actual range day. So it's not like I have experience with them and they're broken or anything. I just don't know how to use them. But using them as foamies are fine. And I'm assuming that they're also listening and giving you enhanced hearing if you want, whenever they're not, removing noises. So that sounds
Mhm.
interesting because regular foamies, you're basically just cutting out everything in the neighborhood. That's why I like my muffs, electronic muffs. Anyway, so that's just my little report. I did get a new set of axles. I don't know how to use them, but they worked fine as foamies. So they're like $100 foamies, but they do have other powers. I just have to figure out how to use them. Have you ever used them?
Axles? No.
So I got them like just in the mail one day. So I could have sworn I did threw away the packaging, but I could have sworn it said something like see you at goals or something like that. So I assumed it was some sort of goals package, and then it was these axles. So I was like, well, shit,
Mm.
that's cool. And it's not like they're brand new or anything. I mean, they are brand new, but it's not like there's a new version. I don't think they're like a new kind or anything. I think they're just like, they're one of their models. I went over there. They were at the indoors at the event, and I went over there and asked them, who's in charge of that. And I'll say thanks to him or whatever. And that person wasn't there. So I have no idea why they sent them because I asked a bunch of other people and some like Clover has them, and so I'm like, hey,
Mhm.
did you get this? And no, they just sent them to him like years ago, or maybe he bought them. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah. So I don't know what happened, but so I'm plugging them because they sent them to me. But they're complicated, I guess, even though there's only 3 buttons on it. Like I have to read the instructions, I guess. But anyway, since you brought up ear protection, I was like, I did change up my ear protection. This is like the first time I've ever changed up my ear protection since maybe 2005 or something, like whenever I got my first Howard lights.
Yeah, I haven't graduated really from Howard Lights. You know what I mean? Because the price point.
Yeah, I
And
bought my Howard lights for 35 bucks a million years ago, and then I went to SHOT Show and said, like, at some point they broke, and I went to SHOT Show and said, "Hey, my Howard lights broke," and they just gave me a new set, and I was like, "Oh, that's cool, so thank you." And then I forget when, maybe 5 years ago or something, I went to the range day. They're always at SHOT Show range day, and
mhm.
like, dude, I've had these things forever and I bought them. And then so like, can you just give me a pair of multicam at some point? Cause I'm sick of these green ones. And then I think I asked them like that for 3 years. And then they finally, some guy said, I don't know if they remembered me or anything, but at least on the third year of asking them, they just handed me a set of multicam ones and I've used them ever since. Cause I like
Nice.
them. They work well. They're $35 or something. They're not expensive. At least they used to be. But, but they're electric and you can plug a radio into them. When I first got them, I would have a little what do they call it? MP3 player, and I would
Mhm.
leave that on the thing and like listen to the radio when I was at classes and stuff. So I really like that feature. Anyway, since I haven't ever needed to change them, I never have. And like I say, they just showed up in the mail one day. So I kind of like, imagine having foamies that are connected by a wire. And then on that wire, there's like a switch, a little block with two switches on it. So
Hmm.
it's, it's not, it's there. Like there's a wire going behind your back. Like it didn't bother me too much, but I could see it bothering me for some, like if I was carrying something maybe that had like a strap over my neck, like then it might get in the way. I'm just not used to having two things connect my ears together with a wire. But, I mean,
Yeah.
the Howard lights aren't perfect. If you're wearing a hat or a helmet, they sometimes get in the way. So anyway, they're a little bit different. What I do like about them is that they're earbuds with a wire going between them. So and it's like a foot long wire, so it's not very long or anything. So they just wad right up into like this little zipper pouch that they give you. So I can carry them with me everywhere. Like they are in my backpack that I carry with me everywhere now, whereas my Howard lights stayed in the car. And
Yeah.
it is when you have more than one car, like you're always in the wrong car or they're always in the other car. So at least now I have them with me all the time.
Yeah, I was actually checking them out over here on their website, and that's the 3.0s you were talking about. They're like
Yeah.
$119 on the website, 30% off.
Okay. I'm gonna
But
do the same thing as what you did with the little Roni thing or with I should call it by its real name. I forgot its real name. Coney?
the morph, just call it the
Morph.
morph.
Okay.
Morph, yeah.
But I asked him to send me a tan set because I'm like, hey man, thanks for sending me the black set, but I live in Arizona. And for like same thing as you said, for making videos, like sending me something in black is sort of not the
It
point.
disappears.
Send me something in a color whenever you're gonna send me something. And you should make these
Yeah.
things in orange. So if you drop them or whatever, they should be in orange. But I guess I'm not in charge of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little annoying when you actually doing practical stuff and you got people. And again, it's because of my niche. Everybody who does this don't want tactical stuff, and it seems like everybody tries to do tactical stuff. Tactical colors. Oh, we got this, we got that. I'm like, I got a bunch of soccer moms that aren't in the firearms at all. I mean, you know what I mean? But they want their gun. They want to go to the range with their friends, but they're not so locked into the gun community that they want to look like they're about to be deployed at the end of the week. So, could you do something with colors other than this? Like, could we act like people have other interests besides just looking like, this look?
Well, I
There's
suspect now that
one.
the global war on terror isn't a like ongoing thing. There'll be some like memories of it or whatever, but I think that we'll see more. I want to call it like civilian, I guess, like non-camouflage stuff, just
Mm,
because you know what I mean. Like there won't be that cosplay element or whatever that's called,
yeah,
LARPing
the
element.
LARPing. Yeah. And it's not
But
being disrespectful, it's being exhausted.
no, you're right, and I guess I can understand like black. Black makes sense because just color for gear,
Yeah.
tools and stuff. But they're gonna end up going to gray, I bet, a lot more than like the greens and tans. Because the greens and tans, I guess I could see it for hunting, but most hunting
Mhm.
people are buying different things than the stuff we're talking about. We're talking about CCW guns and holsters and stuff like that. So I think we'll start to see more in like normal, like your purple and your red and blues, like your just kind of regular colors, or I mean, like your red and blues, and then like occasionally like a yellow or a purple to kind of, be a standard aside from the competition type of thing. We've seen that in the past, but only like, here's what you could buy your wife. It's purple, or here's what you can buy, that special lady. It's teal blue, but and I think we're seeing less green. Still seeing some tan everywhere, but it feels like we're seeing a
Yeah,
lot less green than we did a long time ago. But
maybe.
Brooke makes a good point. It's a opportunity for people who are customizers, painters, all that kind of stuff. For a while there, people would buy a new gun and it almost immediately, if the shop didn't do it, you'd immediately send it to somebody to start Cerakoting it or stippling it or something.
Hmm.
We've kind of gotten away from that, but I'm sure that'll happen again. That idea that like, well, my gun looks a little bit too much like everybody else's gun. I want it to have the stuff I
Yeah,
want.
yeah, I wanted to have the stuff I want that looks just like everybody else's gun. Yep, totally get it. I'm a teenager. I want to dress uniquely like all of my friends.
Oh my
Same
goodness. As
thing.
an old person walking around, driving around the country, I feel like it's been a while since I drove around the country just because last time I did the trip, I was stopping at uh, along the way in urban camping still. This time I went into hotels more.
Hmm.
So it just was a different style of camping, or I mean, a different style of a trip. And yeah, I noticed that a lot more. There's a lot more kids in the hallways of the hotels than there is kids at campgrounds and stuff because kids don't, they got to get pulled arm, yelling and screaming to go to a campground, where I'm sure it's not that hard to get a kid to go to a hotel on a vacation. But yeah, going up and down in that whatever the hotel was that I was on the fifth floor. I spent a lot of time in the elevator going up and down on that one, and
Hmm.
inevitably there'd be some kid sitting in the aisle, or what do we call the hallway, on like the bench that I'm assuming was there for old people, but I guess it's also there for the kids that are, on vacation with their family or their parents. Probably do not want to be in the room doing whatever the parents are doing, so they're in the hallway on the phone, and yeah, like, it was just it's been a while since I'm never around kids or of any age, let alone, like, that kinda situation where the kids are all sitting in a hallway, but, yeah, like, you look at, like, 3 kids in Iowa, they basically are like, "We're rebelling by looking exactly like each other. Our belt buckles are slightly different from each other," or, like, "We're wearing slightly
Uh-huh.
different necklaces," or something.
Don't you notice I'm totally different than him? His cross is upside down and I have a pentagram. Yeah, no problem, Chief. Sorry. No disrespect.
Walkers, I've heard of walkers stuff.
Hmm.
But they
So
just never gave
Walker,
me anything, so they're bad. Well, no, actually, I shouldn't say no, no, they haven't ever given me anything. If they've given me
yeah,
anything, it's been at, like, SHOT Show where they gave it to everybody.
yep. And that's where I had the Walkers. And what happened with them, which I thought was funny. Uh, who the heck was giving us stuff at the day? As we're coming in the shot, someone was giving us Air Pro. I'm like, all right, cool. And then we hit the. I tried to use their Bluetooth to talk on the phone, and it was horrid. Like you couldn't hear diddly squat. And I was like,
Mm.
okay, well, this doesn't work.
Yeah, and that would be annoying because 'cause you're not gonna wanna have to wear buds, like earbuds under that.
Yeah. But I wear over the ear protection, and I really like wearing foamies, so it doesn't really bother me.
Now, I've worn enough foamies. I prefer over the ear, but especially, like, say, when it can be enhanced or whatever and you can hear I really, 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 really like the Howard Lights because it's just a button or a slider, I guess. You turn it on and you adjust the volume at the same
Yep.
time. So there's only one button, and you know if it's working or not, and you just change the batteries. Eventually
Yep.
mine broke because there's a little wire that goes from one side to the other, that wire broke. But anyway, they're very simple, but then I started wearing them a long time ago, way before I volunteered at the range, but as a range safety officer, like, being able to hear everybody and everything everybody's saying is amazing. So I just got so used to that, that I don't like it if I don't hear everything, and I'm assuming it's the same with, like, the diversity shoot. You wanna hear, if somebody's saying, like, "I wonder what this is," or "Uh-oh," you know what I mean? That you wanna hear all of that stuff, and that's what the
Yeah.
enhanced hearing does, and I mean, I'm all open. I'm assuming these axles are like that. I just obviously, like I say, I have not mastered them yet. I might have had them like turned on to the lowest level, so I just couldn't tell they were on or something. I'm assuming something like that. I just didn't. I didn't even look at the instructions. I just put them on and hit the button until it would like beep at me, and I figured that's when they're on. And then from then on, I had to, didn't they didn't work. But I'm thinking they do all that stuff. Like you can listen to your radio on your phone or whatever. Listen to phone calls.
All right. Hey, man, I realized something. I got to get off this phone.
Yeah, I forgot. We started this whole thing with like, "Hey, you gotta go out, get a time limit?" And you're like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "All right, we're just been bullshitting." But, I mean, it was a good show, and we were just bullshitting about something we just both went to that doesn't happen very often. But,
Yep.
awesome, glad you had a good trip. Well, I mean, I didn't even ask. Did you have a good trip? Was it worth your while?
100% worth my while. Glad I
Same here.
did the
I really
speech that I
liked it.
did. If people saw it, um, because I wanted to do a hard hitting speech this year. Because living in New Jersey, they lost the assault weapons ban case, and for all of a week, we had that freedom. And then all of a sudden, they said they requested a stay, and they got it, and that pissed me off. And that was in my speech. Someone was joking about it. It's like you couldn't stand still. Understand, you've met me multiple times. Brooke has met me. A lot of the people here in listening to your show have actually met me. You didn't meet a fake me. I'm that happy dude most of the time. I knew my speech was going to have to hit hard. So I had to get myself angry to be able to say what I said with that attitude. But that's a long 5 minutes. And the more I talked about it, the angrier I got. So by the time I stepped off stage, I was pissed off. And I actually had to calm myself down coming off stage because I was really and truly angry. And so I walked off stage, I walked around the back, I kept through the edges and tried to avoid everybody. And as I was walking through the last door, thinking that was the door that opened into the green room, it wasn't. It was the door that opened into right into Media Row. And I walked right into the guys from Gun Stuff TV. It was like, hey, we've been looking for you. Come on over for an interview. I'm like, son of a bitch. So again, I don't get angry easy. So again, it took 5 minutes of talking about my rights being taken away to get me pissed off. So if you watch the Gun Stuff interview, I think I have it on my no, not my Instagram, my X. Second for everyone, or second is for everyone, or whatever you call it. Tony Simon type it in. I think as you watch it, you can see me try to calm down as I'm having a conversation because that was only 5 minutes long too. And then I sequestered myself into the green room and didn't come out until I was a human being again. But yeah, I don't often get angry, and usually when I speak at these events, no one wants to be attacked or say you need to do better or do that kind of thing at the event. I try to make it a positive thing. Well, this wasn't a positive thing. This was an angry, this is bullcrap thing, and I'm tired of saying I'm law abiding when the government itself won't abide by the laws. If it's unconstitutional, how can you request a stay? I was like, you can somehow do that with the Second Amendment, but if it was a First Amendment case, it wouldn't stand. You know what I
Well,
mean? If it
actually,
was something
I
about
should
voting.
no, go ahead, finish the thought.
Oh yeah, I mean, if it was something about voting and people not being able to vote, you wouldn't get a stay on that. You know, it's like, yeah, the thing you're doing is unconstitutional. You don't get a stay. It's unconstitutional. Or, all right, cool, they can go to court, but no, until it does and it's decided on again, this is the law of the land. Like that's the way it would work with First Amendment case, and I figure with other cases too. And it just doesn't work with the Second because the Second Amendment seems to be a secondary right, or even if it's not a right, they see it as a privilege.
So, a couple of things. I feel bad that I heard you, or I mean, whatever, going on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. Like I seen the beginning of that speech, the first couple of lines, like 6 times,
Hmm.
right? And I never even
Yep.
thought, like, oh, I'm going to be driving for 1 billion hours. I might as well download Tony's speech and listen to it. So I didn't even listen. I'll have to listen to it still. But that's interesting to hear because I figured with the way you started it, you said something like, I don't want to be called law abiding or something like that. Like
Yes.
pretty, right out the bat, like you're setting it like this isn't going to be like butterflies and everything. So one, I got to listen to it, but then two, I'm glad you did it because I was listening to something else. It was in a conversation. I can't remember what I was listening to, but essentially the two hosts were talking to each other at a portion of it, and we're saying something to the effect of like, it's a weird time right now because we've got some really good wins, but at the same time, there are not just losses, but like the boot continues to crush. And that's where it's frustrating, I'm sure, for people who live in those states, but the rest of us don't appreciate because we don't live under the oppressive boot. Um, the what would you call it? Like the weight, not just like, oh, you got bad laws, but like, no, we got bad laws. Like I can't do shit and I'm an adult. Like I can't do shit and I'm an adult. Like this is bullshit. And we hear about it, once in a while, like on a show, we people in states that aren't having the boot stepped on us, right? So it's a thought thing to us. It's not a fact of life. So I think it's
Mm.
important, I guess is what I was going to say it one to the people that are at an event like that, because if they go to an event like, especially with GOA, they even call it like a active, there's activism is like in the title of this particular event because they're not
Hmm.
doing it like, hey, like NRA is really an event where the membership gets together and decides if the membership is going in the right direction, and that has actually had effect over the last few years. GOA is a different type of organization, so their event isn't like, hey, members, let's have a sit down and get together and talk about the organization. Instead, it's like an attempt to bring the industry and community together with the like actual consumers and fans, I guess you'd say, to bring everybody together as like a good time weekend, and like you get to experience the stuff that you don't get to see at SHOT. And then additionally, they are GOA has the like foresight or whatever to include media into that. So, they really do a good job or whatever. But at the same time, it's a lot of feel good butterflies and like only looking at the bright side, because one, they want to say pat GOA on the back and say, look at all the great stuff GOA has done, right? And it's not like GOA has lost in New Jersey. They just haven't done shit in New Jersey or in Colorado or in Washington State, right? Like, so it's not like, oh, you did bad there. Like, you haven't done shit there. So it's tough to say, hey, get off your ass and do something. I'm about the only one that does do that. I think most people are like satisfied that GOA is, doing stuff
in the building. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so I would think I'm glad that you brought that up as a topic, because I guess it's important for the people who are not paying attention to understand that those people who are living under it are constantly living under it. It's not just oh, we got some bad news on this side of the scorecard, but we got some good news on this side of the scorecard. And overall, we're winning. So, what gun am I buying next? So that's, you're allowed to do that. But I think it's important to bring people touch the ground, like bring them to reality. And
yeah, and I had people come up to me after I can't calm down. I went back in because I wanted to hear my friend Liz and her panel. And as I was coming in, actually I was standing outside after Brandon Herrera spoke, and then there was a flood of people leaving because they came for him. Fine. And eight, 9 people actually stopped and thanked me and said I actually changed the way they think about what law abiding really means.
Good. Because that's the kind of shit that if they've never heard that concept before, you know what I mean? It's on paper, it's like, what? But once you explain and once you've said it, then it's opening minds. It's awesome.
And that was made it worth it. And I go, you know what? Maybe it's time. I've established myself as a decent guy. I mean, people know me, but I think maybe that may be how I'm going to have to not get angry about it, but actually talk about it from that perspective as someone who's in the state. We won. And then they still were like, nah. It's like, no, we're not implementing the thing that we were just told is unconstitutional. Because then what they used was California's Freedom Week. And that if they gave us that freedom, the public would be in danger because they were able to purchase 30-round magazines.
Unknown, because they're not serialized. We don't know how many there could be.
And you're sitting there going, and my thing is, if you're going to use Freedom Week as an excuse, then show me where all these crimes were committed with magazines they got during Freedom Week. Because if there are none, then you're just, again, what they did the first time is they're selling a fear with no examples. This could happen. Never happened. Every example they gave never happened. It's the fear of it happening. And that's what the judges kind of sort of told them. But then as a reason for a stay, they went, well, this could happen. And the judge was like, okay, we'll sign off on it. No. But anyway, so that's where I was talking from. Hopefully this works out well. I think I'll put the whole speech up. I'll shoot John a message to see if I can. I mean, it's my speech and it's on YouTube. But when I post it,
I can't imagine they care.
I doubt if they do. And if they do, more people will see it. I mean, the thing is, the social medias, because it's a 5-minute speech, they're not going to promote it at all, and it's going to disappear in a black hole. So I'll tag people in it, and hopefully they'll help spread it.
Maybe we could play it on this show, and then I have a robot that chops up this show and turns it into shorts, and then like pieces of it will get turned into shorts at least.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
You can do that next time. Anyway, so we said like a half an hour ago, hey, let's wrap this up. And then we started bullshitting. It might have been longer than that. So thanks again for joining us for so long. Thanks everybody out there for being part of the show. We had a really good show today. That's one of the reasons I think we kept going out. You can't see the numbers, but you can kind of tell from the amount of comments and the variety of people commenting. We had a lot of people participating tonight. So after this show, go check out A Great Start Shooting School. Brooke hosts a conversation each Saturday that's focused on mental health. You know, we can talk about like, oh, I busted my eye, or like, oh, I got slammed in the eyeball with a scope or something, right? Or like, oh, I fell down and broke my right hand, so I got to shoot left-handed. I wouldn't even think twice. Like, there's no social stigma to talking about, our physical health. When we talk about our mental health, we're just not comfortable doing it. We haven't got experience doing it. So what Brooke does is help shine a light on those concepts, those topics, makes it a lot easier to approach these topics. And it's important because we know that 3 out of the 4 deaths with a firearm, they have to say it that way, deaths with a firearm include suicide. And most every number they used in order to sound dramatic or sound like guns are so bad is including suicide. And so we're not even really supposed to be saying that on YouTube because of the way the system works. And Brooke is the only person out there fighting that system. There's a national level organization, or maybe 2, that are in the realm, in the space, but they're specifically doing either interactions with the medical or the industry. What Brooke is doing is making it approachable for just regular people. That if you decide, hey, this is something that's of value, and I want to be better at talking about these things, so that when I'm talking to people on our side, right, who just don't have this experience of chatting about this stuff, or if you're talking to somebody on the other side who's going to try using the deaths of usually service members, but gun owners often, almost exclusively, not quite, but use those deaths somehow against us. Well, doom on them. They just do not have the right. And if we can get better and more successfully have conversation with those type of folks, the better off we are. I don't know if Tony dropped or if he literally had to go, because he does have he has like 4 podcasts he's a co-host on. So he just dropped out, and I'm talking and typing as I'm trying to connect. Oh, am I even connected? Maybe I dropped out. But I'm trying to connect Brooks' show to our show, which I have just successfully finally done, which means that when this show ends, YouTube will suggest that you head over to Brooks' show, so you don't have to look for it. I think Tony just dropped. Like I say, he has 2 other shows. He does one on Tuesdays with the guys where they talk about guns and gear, and then he does one that he records on Saturday. I think that one goes out like Wednesdays. That is more whatever. I would say culture topics. Kind of, they're all instructors, so they're kind of not so much talking about gear focus as much as like the evolution of guns and what's going on, and I think politics and stuff. Yeah, so there he is. But yeah, thanks, Tony, for joining us for such a long show, and we'll wrap this one up. Let's see. I was gonna say, since Tony's gone, I'll just go ahead and keep ranting here. This one cost me about $5,000. So this trip. So I think G23 was asking who's going to Florida. These are interesting trips. Like, I don't go to NRA anymore. I was way too poor for too many years to be able to go to NRA. And I don't appreciate the NRA show. It's just the same as SHOT Show, but with the public. And for what I do, taking videos of guns and shit, it's hard enough to fight people at SHOT Show who are sort of in the industry. Going to a public event is like trying to record sound at an outdoor park or something. Like, it's just futile. It's futile. It's definitely impossible. And I don't like the stress. And I'm not interested in meet and greets or any of that kind of shit. So I have no interest in going to public shows. I go to the GOA one because I wanted to support it and see what it's like. I would have gone to the earlier ones, but I was really poor back then. I couldn't afford to. So as soon as I could afford to, I went to it. And last year, I forget what it cost. Last year was more of a wash because I was able to do stuff on the trip that made money during the trip, let's say. And I wasn't able to do that. Things have changed. So I'm not able to do that this year. So it cost like $5,000 pretty much to get to those goals show. And that was in Iowa. I didn't do too much extra shit. I went to the town where they film Red Dawn, and I droned everything that I know there. So I've been that town many times, and filmed a lot of the filming locations, or taken pictures of a lot of the filming locations once I found them. This year I went back out there and took drones of everything. So I have like drone video of all the Red Dawn places. So that was like an hour or 2 of extra driving. And then I met up with Jeff at Philmont. I stayed at the NRA. I stayed at the hotel from Red Dawn. That was a little more expensive than a regular hotel. And then I stayed at the NRA range, which was actually way cheaper than a hotel. So that's kind of a wash. So most of my hotels were about 100 something bucks a night. And then hotels are assholes. So if you bring a little dog with, they get to just charge you 25 extra bucks. So, whatever, 11 days on the road times 25 basically to have that dog with me. And then gas. So it really does it. And then there's food and some shit along the way, but mostly it was gas and the hotels. So what do you call it? Florida is just way further. I mean, I don't even know. It's been a while since I've driven to Florida, but it's days and days, right? Like I could probably get somewhere to Texas, but I wouldn't want to drive much further than El Paso the first day. Then it's a whole nother day across Texas because of Texas is a hog and it hogged up so much of the world. And then another day to go across Louisiana and those other states that I can't remember. And then another day for figuring out where it is in Florida and, getting around in Florida. So what is that like? That's a lot just to get there. I think it was technically 17 hours for me to get home from Iowa. It took a little longer than that, but anyway, I just think it would be a lot of money to get to Florida. And then I look at the other end and say, what's in Florida? There is some stuff. Like I don't remember all the stuff that is on that trip, but there's more stuff to do. So that becomes, okay, I want to stop here and here, right? So now that's 2 more days. So 2 more days of hotel. So it's a little different. I'm still getting accustomed to this driving to hotel. It was a lot different when I drove the van because it was cheaper. I could stop anywhere I wanted and sleep for free. And I don't do that anymore. So little more financial issue than there has been. Wasn't necessarily the best idea to get rid of the van, but at the same time, it's a lot different. You can get more done in the hotels. I can definitely get more stuff done in the hotels in the evenings than I could ever get done in the van, unless it was just ideal temperatures. And even then, if it's ideal temperatures, you probably got bugs. Let's see. Brooke does a great job of bringing awareness. Yep. Consistency and focus. So anybody can do a show often. I do that all the time, but they're all over the place. Brooke does one often, consistently, rarely ever misses a show. And then it's always on topic. So definitely a better product than what we're doing here. Yeah. Well, and then Bolts for Bucks is out there. So it would have been cool if you got down there. I guess you were hunting probably. All right. Well, so yeah, I was just going to say, so that's probably why I'm not going to Florida unless something changes. Things change all the time. And like I say, last year, I was able to travel around and it was more cost effective. Like I was almost making the money on the trip or whatever. And there are other people that do this better than me. And so I could figure out how to do it better. People who did that trip for free. Like they already made all their money back on the trip. And I just haven't figured out all those different techniques. But I don't know. We won't talk about it on this show too much unless people ask those questions. But those are typically Tuesday shows if you're interested in, figuring out how to go do this stuff for real. Let's see. Otherwise, earlier, whoever this German weirdo is said, hey, spelled wrong because they're from Germany. Can you send me a gun with ammo? No, of course not, you jerk. What do you think? We're communists? We just send guns around? You jerk. So Germans are obviously weird or communists or something. Plus they're wearing like a ninja hood, so it's probably fake. This is when I insulted Snob earlier. And then got Cheese out there talking about cigars. So welcome. I don't know if I've seen that name in the chat before. We had a lot of people from the YouTube today. We've got like replies and shit from Facebook, but not, or comments and shit from Facebook, but not a lot of comments from Facebook. And I'm just kind of scrolling through the comments here to see if I missed anything. Again, thanks to Brooke for the super chats. Don't super chat this channel anymore. Super chat Tony's channel, so I'll just give Tony $70. One of these days I'll take Tony to eat. I think it's been a while since he was in Arizona. I think is the last time I was able to take him to eat because usually he's got like plans. He's already got everything figured out when he's at these events and stuff. Let's see. Things I'll be doing live after we get moved in October. Oh, you're moving? You're moving back to Tucson? Like the molded ones. I don't know what that is. That was a long time ago, probably. All right, I'm scrolling back down to the bottom here. It is nice on this StreamYard in that they fade out the comment once I've clicked on it, so I can tell where I'm at. Otherwise, I would have to remember which ones I've looked at before. Right on. Yeah, no worries. I just hate to see YouTube profit off of us because they hate us and they don't pay any of us. So, you know what I mean? I'd have more. I liked YouTube for a long time. If you look back at all of our, like, for a long time, we did clinics and stuff, how to get, how to do this kind of stuff. And we'd have like workshops and stuff. And in all that time, I probably defended YouTube more than a lot of people. Clover likes YouTube more than me, but I was a fan of YouTube. I mean, YouTube paid us for a long time, and until they didn't, and then now they've just been shitty. Like now they're just abusive, and they allow people to use it as a tool to abuse, and there's no checks and balances. So, as much as I appreciate what YouTube has done for us, particularly, but also the community and just the world, I mean, I appreciate it. It's a great resource, or it had been a great resource, but they're definitely set themselves up to be abused, and they don't hold back on that. So until they stop that, do 180 and do what Facebook is doing now, which is letting people do stuff, I just don't like to support them, even though we're here doing stuff, all this stuff all the time. Ozzy saying YouTube was great 10 years ago. Let's see, 2016. It was awesome back then. I mean, it wasn't amazing. We built gun channels because YouTube was being weird in 2013 and tried to create, what was it called, like Google Plus, and it was basically like a weird Facebook thing that wasn't even, it was just sort of like almost like MySpace, really, that they kind of insisted everyone move to. And when they did that, it kind of separated people between, hell yes, YouTube will do what you say, and they ran over there and set up new accounts, and everybody else who was like, I'm thinking about leaving YouTube completely, like screw this, what the hell, like making us do this. And then it wasn't too many months later they backed down on like forcing us to use it because it was just such a train wreck of shit. It was garbage, it was useless. It was like some tools that some dumbass sold to his manager, but then in real life nobody wanted to use them. So anyway, it failed, and they eventually went back to just normal YouTube again. And so that was like what, November of 2013. I only know that because that's when we built gun channels because of that. And then the gun channels evolved a little bit and became what it was. But in other words, I guess we would have never even built gun channels if YouTube didn't do their weird shit in cycles. That being said, they do it in cycles. So hopefully, I doubt with our influence, but hopefully with the lack of pressure from the assholes who are against guns, then, we'll see YouTube just lay off. It's not like I don't think YouTube actually hates guns, and I don't think there's some pressure from the actual audiences to hate guns. I seriously think it was like Coca-Cola who was pressured by Bloomberg. It was probably like that simple. And because there's nothing as big as Coca-Cola to say, we need guns, you have to have guns, they're just leaving the switch off. So anyway, it is what it is. That's all my theory on YouTube. That being said, Facebook is better now in 2026. People are doing much better off on Facebook. People I know, G23, I think, uses that Rumble or whatever to do live chats, or at least he hangs out over there watching the live chats. I don't, because it's a pain in the ass, but there are alternatives to all this stuff. Anyway, that's almost 4 hours. The link to Brooke's show will kind of pop up, I believe, on your screen. It's in a couple of hours from now. It used to tell us what time, but now it's not. It says at 6 p.m. I don't know what time zone I'm in is the problem. So it says at 6 p.m. So that is 3 p.m. now. So it's actually in 3 hours-ish. So we'll see you next week. It sounds like I don't think Tony's traveling again. Like I say, this took a lot out of me. I'm not traveling. I won't make $5,000 from this trip. So it was basically an expensive vacation for me. So I won't be traveling anytime soon. And I didn't make all kinds of contacts on this thing to pay for my trip or anything. So I don't think we'll see our coverage of anything else that isn't within a day's drive, like SHOT Show and stuff. I was looking at GRPC, and to be honest, I don't even know where they came up with some of their hosts, some of the people they're going to have talking. So, no incentive to go to Dallas for that. If GRPC was in Phoenix, I would have to actually really decide if I wanted to drive up there because Phoenix is like 2 hours away from me. So it would be like a hotel room. So I don't even think GRPC is worth a hotel room anymore. But I'm not talking shit. I just am frustrated by it, and I, only have so much money like everybody. So realistically, I'm not going to spend money to go see the panel that they came up with for GRPC this year. And I'm not confident that GRPC is going to be any different or do something. So I don't really see too much trouble. Wanamaker is in the mix. So we'll see what happens with Wanamaker. That's a day or two trip or drive. 2 days if you want to go slow, a day if you just want to take two people and get there. 12 hours or 16 hours, I think, to get all the way to actual Tulsa. So Steven or Bullets for Bucks is saying SHOT Show is your next one. I thought, well, you got hunting and stuff. Plus, you say that, and you've got opportunities there in Utah that you're closer, not next to, but you're closer. But if I had to drive somewhere, I'd rather drive across Wyoming to go to a place in Utah than drive across boring ass East Texas or West Texas. Like, I guess probably parts of Texas are cool, but most of Texas is private land. So I don't give a shit about private land. I like looking at public land, but looking at private land is boring. So most of Texas is private. It's like driving through a shit ton of neighborhoods. It's just that the neighborhoods are massive. So anyway, to Texas is pretty boring as far as I'm concerned. And it takes literally an entire 2 days to drive across Texas on I-10. So making me want to go to Texas, it'd have to be a pretty good thing. That being said, there are a couple of things I do want to see over in Texas still. So we'll see what happens. And things change. So if all of a sudden we do figure out a way to still make money while we're on the road, then heck yeah, Florida is just another place to go. Brooke is saying 9 p.m. Eastern. That makes it much easier to pinpoint. So thank you very much. All right. With that, we will end it, even though we've threatened to end it for the last 50 minutes or so. Now what'll happen is a video will come on that is non-copyrightable, and then the show will be over.